Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a good move sending home Emerson there,
I
in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that round, the round Emerson won because I remembered that me and Taisha already had a conversation about Emerson and other people feeling comfortable with Emerson. It's like, okay, this is my opportunity to like remind Taisha of these people that feel comfortable with Emerson. Maybe she might come to my side because I was like, Derek is on my side more than Emerson, just based on conversations.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Derek and Ty. Y'all ate that
you
down.
did it.
I'm not bitter that y'all
Josie, I
paired
feel
me
so bad.
because I would have gotten your asses. It was obvious. It was obvious. It was so clear. I literally said at my eviction, I'm like, you guys will win this game. Like it was so obvious. I'm like, if we take rid of Bryce, the villains won't have that much wiggle room. I trusted Ivan with my life. I felt like Cam was gonna trust me after that one. Emerson was talking about me, Ty, girls. I think that went out the window, which is shocking because I was helping her out with that vote. But regardless, y'all ate respect where respect is due. Derek, you're one of the best SA players. Let's keep it a buck. Sorry, Jalen. He can go to the side. He could go to the side. You a
I
down.
I think that, even the round you went just we had that conversation about the
Thank you,
villains, like
Rachel.
one on one. We had the conversation because that was the round that was safe. We had the conversation about the villains, like one of them has to go. And I think it was me and Roy that were in the breakout room. And I'm like, if Jose is not hearing all that name, I think they're thinking of getting Jose out.
It's okay. Honestly, I respect it because I wasn't coming to for the Derek show. It was the Derek show, but
Baby, it was the
You
Derek
know,
show
that was
since
never my
cycle
intention.
one. It was the Derek show since cycle one. Like
I knew the randomizer.
a lot of people don't even know it, but like, I mean, I guess if y'all were watching, y'all know it. But like the reason I went so hard at Bryce and Sophia the first cycle was because of Derek. So
I was
Derek,
like, this is I was honestly just trying to like, it was anybody but me. But I was loyal to the people that I gave my word to. However, any information that came to me like throughout the game, like I chose like where to use it and how to use it, and it worked out ultimately. But I just lost my train of thought. Anyways, yes. I had a good time playing the game from
I had a good time too. I did.
For sure.
I really enjoyed being in the
you did.
chat. Who said that? What was that?
Me, Cam. Cam said that. You were in that chat popping.
My
You were
little
going
fingers was
off here.
moving. I had thoughts, and my thoughts were gonna get expressed. Like y'all.
Oh yeah, you were. Listen, I'm
Price was the loudest first boot of all time.
Yeah, for real. Price was on my ass the whole time.
Okay,
I was like, Price,
listen, Cam. I was nervous because it looked like you was just not gonna say nothing, and I was just like, "Listen, you finna go home, speak, like fight." I wanted to fight, like that's why I even got the icon award. Like Dominic didn't even read the whole award I gave. I gave Ivan the icon award. I don't even remember what I said. Hold on, let me see what I said.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough to speak up during the Josiane award because
it wasn't tough. It wasn't tough because everybody was sitting there looking at you like, okay, well, everybody said Cam, what do you want to do?
If I'm being honest, if I'm being 100% transparent, I thought that maybe I was going, but Bryce did say right before that there was a plan in motion to get Josiane out. I thought they would have voted me. And I was like, I'm not going to vote Josiane.
If you heard there was a plan in motion to get Josiane out, and then you sitting there and everybody saying, we finna vote you, and nobody coming to your defense but Josiane, and you still say nothing?
Well, that's what I was trying to speak up. That's why I was trying to make the Emerson, which I guess I could have said that going forward. But I don't know how much that would have helped me because Emerson wasn't clearly going to vote with me.
Yeah, I think Emerson kind of trusted Bryce a little bit more.
Emerson, I don't know. I think it was clear as day where the whole game was going. That vote, like me calling it out, like, yeah, it was about Cam, but it was more so for you. Like, you were not, they were like, I don't know what your relationship with Bryce is. Like, I don't know. But when I spoke to you and I was like, okay, like, I'm willing to work with you, like, to me, it was fairly obvious that Derek and Ty were in the best position, which look now, like, look where we are. And I knew that if I would have shut up and not said anything, well, now I know the plan was me, so whatever. But in my mind, it's like, okay, Cam goes, then I might go, you might go, and then Ivan might go. I just don't know the order. It's going to be up to them. So I don't know why you stuck by that, but you did, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
No.
Emerson, go ahead.
So for that vote, it was a weird one because during like the whole like discussion, like I was just very confused. I didn't get to talk to Cam very much like at all that round, so I didn't know what he was doing, and I was planning on sticking with Cam above all during that vote. And then Ivan having safety too was also because I at that point in time, like Ivan had been like coming after me, and I knew that Josiane and Ivan were very tight, and I was like, I don't know exactly where like I stand with Josie. Like I really did not know at all. And then I also know that she's a really good player, and I was like, I didn't know like if she would like take it away, like if she got super deep in the game.
Heroes versus neutrals for villains. I give all congratulations to the
Dominic, you.
Oh,
Watch it over. It just happened.
Go ahead. Emerson.
anyways, yeah, I really didn't know where I stood with Josie at that point in time. And then I also like was like, Ivan's trying to get me out, like he literally just spoke out like against me last round. So I figured that, if Ivan had brought that to Josie in a round where they both could vote, I was like, she's gonna go with him over me. Like I really felt like unsafe with Josie in that round. And then that plan was brought to me. And Bryce had brought it up to me a couple rounds earlier as well.
Can I ask a question real
Can I
quick?
say something? Okay.
No, wait, let me ask my question first. So I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is like you were like unsure about Josie because Ivan brought up like targeting you or something. But like the argument at the time was there are 3 villains and we're about to go to 6. That was the argument. Like I
No.
just like did you think Bryce would choose you over the villains? Was that your thought process? That's what I want to know.
No, I did trust Bryce. Like I'm gonna say that, and like I did talk to him after like we were both eliminated, and he like I don't know, like I don't think he would be like lying, but he said that he trusted me as well. Outside of like
I get the trust. My question was, did you think Bryce would choose you over the villains after that point? It was y'all were going to final 6. It was still 3 villains. 3 villains. My question was, did you think Bryce would choose you over the villains? Yes or no? If you're unsure, you could say you're unsure.
I
Like
don't know.
you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was thinking at that time, like when it comes to that part of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
get,
remember.
I think for me, I think I get the fact that I was coming after you because Jose and Bryce told me they felt a little bit comfortable with you, and at that point we haven't spoken. So I told Taisha about that. People are feeling comfortable with you, and me and Taisha did not feel comfortable about you. But the round Floki went home, Jose stood up for you. That round, she was like standing to make sure it was Floki that was going on. She stood up for you, which was why I was confused why it was like fuck Jose.
Yeah. I mean, like I really that whole conversation that we had though during the time, because when we went into the when we like went into like when the breakout rooms ended during the vote where Josie got voted out, I did not know what I was doing. Like I wasn't sure like what the votes were going to look like, because I at that point in time I wasn't 100% that I wanted to vote out Josie. Like I didn't know. And then the uncertainty with everything, like in that big conversation where people were talking like all of a sudden Bryce was like, I'm voting Cam, and then that threw me off a little bit because I wasn't sure if he was actually voting Cam or whatever. Like the only thing I knew is I was like, Derek's voting Josie. I just want to like I don't want to like cause like vote like someone random and like ruin a relationship for no reason. So I went with the plan that had been that I knew for certain was like there were some people sticking to it, if that makes
The
sense.
plan that
I just wish-
before
I just
y'all
wish-
got into the room, right? Is that what you're saying? you were going with the plan that took place before y'all did the cycle. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Because I really was unsure on what was happening. Like that whole conversation like confused me so much.
Everybody was talking in code. Like I'm sticking.
No. Hold on. Here's my frustration. I stood up, everyone was talking code. I said, no. Let's just keep it a buck. The plan is Cam. Obviously, the plan was not Cam. I didn't know that. My frustration is like, there's only one winner, and the odds of me winning was 1 out of 7 at that point, I believe. But everyone has 1 out of 7. I could sit there and look at everything and see clearly that the best people with the path to win, and it's not shade, it's not like a bad thing, it's respect to their game, is Derek and Ty. I literally said it. I said, you guys, like, the best people right now are these people, and I want to balance it out for everyone, because at that point it's three villains, 2 neutrals, 2 heroes. So even if the plan was me, it would have been 1 hero, 2 neutrals, 3 villains who have technically been together from the start. So their relationship is going to be strong regardless of previous relationships. Like, it's the game. Like, I had relationships with people. I'm close to Bryce, I'm close to Derek, like, to a degree. Like, I love these people. There was a period of my life where I was talking to Derek every single day. So it's like, I have these existing relationships, but I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm sure Derek was going to be close to Ty. I think that was obvious from night 1 because of how they played this game. And so when I'm telling everyone how it is, and I'm saying, okay, to balance it out for everyone, including the neutrals, I think that's the point when people should have been like, by the way, Josie, your name's out there. Because then I would have even thought even more and try to make that clear. But no one even gave me that. There was no leeway.
That's on me.
So for me,
that's not just on you, Cam.
It's not.
It's on the neutrals.
It's with all the neutrals, and I don't think I even knew the plan, so it's not.
I did not know the plan, but I suspected the plan. I suspected that they were planning you out. Roy can back me up, but I think when it comes to the double up, I get a little bit paranoid and I do the wrong thing. I was in the breakout room.
I honestly think you did the right thing, because I feel like it gave more time.
I was in the breakout room telling Roy that I need to double up Jose and Bryce, because I feel like they're doing Jose if there's no other name going around except for Cam. And then I got to the breakout room and then it became Cam versus Bryce, and I started getting confused.
Okay, but my point is that, like, just to recap, my point is that I just felt like that was best for everyone's games except for the villains. And I understand you had a relationship with Bryce, but at the same time, like, I think it was, maybe it's because I analyze things and I observe relationships, but it was clear as day that the people who had the advantages were the people with numbers. And those people, it's not like they were just by themselves. So they would talk to everyone. Like, Bryce came up to me and said, let's do an alliance, heroes versus villains, and get the neutrals out. So when I stuck out my neck out, it was for the neutrals. It wasn't even for my game, because in my mind, I'm supposed to be in this alliance with the villains and the heroes. Then you, me, and Ty were talking about a girls thing. And so when I stuck my neck out, it was to benefit you, Emerson, and Ty the most. And so that's why, to me, in my mind, I'm like, why did Emerson vote for me? Like, this is so obvious. Obviously, I can understand the mix-up, but I just wish everyone would step forward, because there's only one winner, and everyone talking in codes only benefited people who were strong and tight and who were honest and transparent.
I feel like you keep saying there's only one winner, but I don't feel like that was like that pertains to Emerson, because I do feel like Emerson was playing for herself to win.
Yeah, she was.
I feel like if the target of the villains was like a Derek or Taisha, I feel like Emerson would have been much more inclined to vote one of them. But
I didn't know that, because Emerson's the one who
I understand. I'm trying to help you get there. I'm just saying that, like, the target at that time was, of the villains, the name out there was Bryce. And of the villains, that was the person Emerson talked to the most. So if Bryce went, Emerson kind of really lost all her connection to the villains. So I understand why she was hesitant about voting out Bryce, but I also know it would have been the best move for a non-villain to get a chance.
The thing is, again, if Emerson would have said something and been like, okay, I'm close to Bryce and this is the vote, I would be like, okay, because
that's valid, because Emerson was very quiet that round. She was not going to speak a word at all until somebody asked her to speak.
Right now, I'm voting any villain out. I'm going, shit, Derek, Kaisha, I don't give a fuck.
Also, Roy, what were you going to say?
I
I'll
think-
just speak on this as on production, and maybe this might help Josiane, hopefully, but also like I didn't see everything because I was bouncing between rooms at that time. Bryce isn't here to clarify this, but I know when Cam was informed about the move to be made against you before all that went down, Bryce phrased it to Cam as, "We're gonna blindside Josiane, say nothing." That's how he praised it to Cam. And yes, I'll just backtrack a little bit for you, Ivan. Yes, I will vouch that when it was just you and me in that room, he did have that gut feeling that he was worried about you. Like there was nothing said to him that you were an option, but he had a feeling. So yeah, it was Bryce was pushing you that entire time, and my perception of it is that Cam was being used as coverage for your blinds.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
even if
My
Cam was
point
being
is-
used
my
as
point
coverage,
is
it
that
didn't make sense.
So my
I think-
okay, hold on. My point is that I understand why people voted the way they're. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't understand at all, but I get it. But my point is that I wish what would have happened is that people were looking at the bigger picture like I was, in the sense that and this is why I think I play the way I do. I just look at overall relationships. How am I going to get to the end? Derek was a threat from jump. I knew it from jump. In my mind, I'm like, I love Derek. I can't go for Derek right now. I need to secure numbers. So obviously, I'm not going to go for Derek round one. But I knew Derek was the biggest threat going into this. Derek is a great player, period, regardless of what game you play. So it's just, to me, it's like, okay, how can I navigate for us to go to how I can get to the end? And Emerson, to me, even if she had the relationship with Bryce, same thing with Cam, to me, we were at the bottom. It was me, Emerson, Cam, and Ivan, bottom. And that's why at that point, at the final 7, when we could have made a move, that's why I said what I said at that moment. But I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. No one's blocked. No one's unfollowed. No one's nothing. Because I can understand that perception is reality. And I'm just saying why maybe they should have subscribed to the perception I had in my reality, because it aged like fine wine. Period.
I mean, no, I get it, Josie. Like we all understand what you're saying. Like, we were just talking about what happened. It's very similar to how I went home. Like I told Maddie, baby, you not finna see the 3. You not finna see the 3. I'm trying to give you a chance to see the 3. And she was like, but Bryce, I've been talking to me for 30 minutes already. So I understand. We get it.
I think what the thing is, you said that Taisha and Derek were in the best position in the game, but then you pushed for Bryce and not Taisha or Derek.
Because Taisha and Derek were in the best position in the game.
Because the reason I didn't push for them at that point is because in my mind, Emerson pushed the me Taisha thing, like me and the Taisha thing at that point. And she was to me, it seemed like, oh, Emerson has Taisha's back out of all the villains. So I'm like, I'm not gonna push for Taisha. I also like Taisha. I've been to the final 4, I think, or 5 with Taisha. So I had the level of trust with Taisha. Bryce, I knew that I couldn't trust that man as far as I could throw him. So I was like, I can get rid of Bryce, minimize their numbers, and then the next round I'll have more time to talk about why we should go for them next. But at that point in time, everyone was pushing Cam, and I didn't even say a name. So that's why that was the floor and the level to have that conversation, and that's why I tried to wake it up at that point in time. Does that make sense?
That 100% makes sense. Even when they were like, Bryce went home, I was like so happy because I heard Bryce. And then they're like, no, it's Price, not Bryce. I'm like, oh, damn.
Well, I do want to talk about, I missed the first cycle tonight. So what happened there? Can we get into that one? Why was Luke?
That was chaotic.
Are you talking about the look vote? The look vote? Okay. So at the beginning of the round, the dynamic was because Luke did not really bond with the heroes. He was always going for safety. Like we didn't connect like strategy wise. So Luke was a neutral coming into this game, based from our perspective. He was like a neutral. Even like in the breakout room, he was always talking to the neutrals. Like so to us, it's like, okay, we can't really trust Luke. So Jose was like, it's best for us at the beginning to be with the villains, like the 3 villains plus Jose and Ivan. But then I know that voting Luke doesn't benefit me because I don't have that many connections, and I'm connected to Luke because of the hero stuff. So I know that voting Luke doesn't benefit me. But I wanted Luke to vote for Flaky so that, because Flaky already has a vote on him. But then Luke was strategizing with a neutral with Flaky, and I didn't get a chance to even talk to Luke about it.
Also, Luke, the issue with Luke with me and Ivan as heroes is that like round one, because you guys didn't see the breakout rooms, but round one, Luke got safety. And I think Luke and Meg were up on the chopping block. Meg goes home. And then the next round, we go in the breakout room and I go to Luke. I say, bestie, if you want to go for safety, but you might not get it if everyone's just doing, oh, fuck me. Am I lagging?
No. You were. You good now. Come on.
That's fine. We can hear you though.
But I go up to Luke. I'm like, so if you don't win safety, who are you running for? Luke goes, you or Ivan. I said, what? Me or Ivan? Okay. So I go to Ivan. I said, bestie, it's either me or you if Luke gets safety. So those 3 votes for Luke that entire time, it was me. Because you ain't gonna say my name once and get comfortable. No. So when we make it to merge, the plan was for actually Pranoy, me, and Ivan to be in the 3. There was a mix up with Bunny, but but it was gonna be Pranoy and I. And I told them we need to vote for Luke final 4. They did not. They voted for Bunny, and then Luke got safety.
I feel like
okay, wait. Pause real quick. I just want to address this because she said it in the chat. Thank you for that information, Maddie. Also, this reunion is for everybody. You can come and like say your piece. But I would like to know which hero you knew IRL that told you to trust Sophia and Bryce.
What?
Y'all can go back to Maddie said in the YouTube chat, Price, to be fair, I was told by a hero that I know IRL to trust Bryce and Sophia. So you're saying they were lying didn't matter to me at that point. So sure, it played out how you said, but I was working off a long-term game plan.
But I had a conversation.
What is Maddie talking about?
I had a conversation with Maddie because
I'm talking about I told Maddie you can't trust Bryce and Sophia. And she was like, I'm voting you. And I was like, okay. But she's saying she trusted Bryce and Sophia because somebody from the heroes told her to trust Bryce.
But it's not me. It's not me because I had a conversation with Maddie because we're the only 2 that have played one season. I think she played season 18. I played season 19. So I'm like, oh, like work to get to the merge and we'll like come together and work together. And I told her that you cannot trust Bryce because I'm not in a good space with Bryce. I told her you cannot trust Bryce. Like I made that we're not in good terms.
Everybody knew you and Bryce was not on good terms because every room game Bryce spent 30 minutes talking about it. But we could go back to what y'all was talking about with Luke. Why Ivan and Josie Ann were not on good terms with Luke. Fluky, what was going on with you that round?
I mean, so obviously I was telling everyone, like, if you want to vote me out, do it. I don't give a shit.
Round 1?
Yeah. Are we talking about round 1?
So you were just saying it the whole day too.
Yeah, because in terms of an integrity thing, I was like, listen, like it's a losing battle. But in terms, if we're referencing why I gave Josie and safety, I mean, it was part personal and part strategic. So I wanted my number 1 was Cameron, and obviously the assumption is he's going to work with Luke, right? So I was like, okay, I want Luke still in this game, but I heard Josie Ann and Luke were not the bestest of friends, and I didn't know if that was true or not, but I still liked Josie Ann as a person, and she also said to me during the talking around 1 that I had to earn her trust, and she needed a line. I don't know. That's what she said to me.
So you wanted to protect Josie.
It was a reach.
But work with Luke.
No.
Yeah, it was a reach. But
I
eliminated Josie Ann's vote.
That's not true, though. Let's be real. That's not true.
I am being real.
You were just trying to make sure Jose could not vote that
wait. Let me explain something.
I'm being real.
Outside of this, like Fluky is one of the only people who kind of just checks on me, like that we're not close friends. I wouldn't say me and Fluky are close friends, but Fluky and I are constantly in contact. And so there is a personal relationship there. So like to say that out of all the cast, if Fluky gave me safety, I'd be super shocked. That would be a lie. But I was shocked at that moment. I do think it had to do with the Luke vote, but I wasn't rigid. Like what I was trying to explain earlier is that, Luke got into final 3, and I feel like the mistrust or distrust between all 3 of us was placed on Luke from that first week when he said it would be either me or Ivan. But I came in and I said this to Cam. I said, y'all might be brothers, siblings, whatever, but this is a reset for me because I'm just trying to win. I don't care what happened night 1. We're at night 2. So I wasn't closed off to Luke, because I'm thinking numbers and strategically. Yeah, I can be social and loud and blah blah blah, but I'm a numbers person at the end of the day in terms of dynamics. And I was receptive to Luke. I felt like Luke would be more open this time because Luke's back was already against the wall with the whole sibling thing.
So who decided Luke was the target? Who?
I think Derek.
Derek.
Was it,
We
he
know
was
Derek.
Derek. We
It was
know
Derek.
Derek starting
Let me
yesterday.
add,
Derek-
let me add, like, I truly wanted to do something the first round, like regardless of how you want to perceive it. I'm not gonna lie during this reunion. Like what I said about giving that immunity to Josiane is the truth. Now, was that a mistake in not giving it to Luke? Sure, but I was trying to play the long game, which I didn't really have a long game because I was screwed. So that's all there is to it.
Okay.
It
so,
just seemed
just
like it was
clarify, just
legit
clarify.
because
Yeah, just to clarify, okay. That round, you guys thought you could get my vote, but you knew you could not get Jose's vote. You gave Jose's that safety with the potential of it to go to a tie because you guys thought you could get my vote. Don't let us do this all. We gave the safety to Jose because I love Jose as a person. Let's be real. There's the strategy part of it.
There was multiple reasons, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I didn't play smart. Let's keep it at that.
Also, Fluky, I just want to say this because we're gonna get to the second cycle next. Well, I'll wait till we get to the second cycle. So it was Derek who decided we
Why are you the MC?
Derek wanted to push
because y'all ramble. I'm sorry, I sat there for 8 hours watching tonight, and y'all ramble. I need somebody to keep the pace, and Dominic is busy,
Derek
and he
pushed,
was doing it earlier, so I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah,
but
Derek.
The reason Derek was the person
that started pushing it.
All the villains were on board. Josie
Yes.
had safety.
Yes.
Ivan, how did you vote?
I voted for Luke, but to me, it was not because I wanted to vote for Luke. I wanted to vote for Fluky because I already stole points from Fluky.
But you didn't have time to talk to Luke about
Luke,
it.
I didn't have to, because Luke was busy. Luke was busy strategizing with Fluky, and he didn't realize that his best chance to stay is to add more votes to Fluky. That was the misconception there. It took me a long time to write my vote for that vote because I didn't want to vote for Luke because I didn't think it benefited my game. But at the same time, I didn't want to throw my votes and then I lose trust with the villains that early.
Okay. And Cam, I know you were probably trying to like help your sibling out. So what was your strategy going in?
Essentially, I mean, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle trying to get rid of Derek. I mean, he just won the season. I didn't say that personally, Derek, but good shit. You know, I think, you know, going into the thing, I was just like, let's push Derek. Let's see how many people we can attract with that.
So you were trying to get Derek from John.
Luke.
Well, once I heard it was Luke, of course I had to. I mean, that's the only way I can go about it. Luke's going for Derek. Fuck it. If we're gonna swing big, it's season 20. Let's fucking go for let's go for the Grand Slam right now.
I like it.
So, Luke was swinging for Derek.
I kind of figured once I talked to Josie, like she couldn't even vote, but like I'd kind of got that Luke had already put a bad taste in the hero's mouth. We're already siblings. That's another thing. Luke can't vote, so his vote doesn't even fucking matter. I'm like, well, I mean, everyone knows
just fucked no matter what. Okay.
Yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked. Luke just fucked over half the heroes. They're for sure not going to trust him. Not going to trust them. Oh, Derek, it wasn't like it's not like Derek came up with it, but I think honestly everyone was kind of on the same boat. Maybe you guys can correct me, but I felt like it was the easiest vote. Like Fluky can't vote. Why waste the vote on him when you can just get him out the next round, which they did.
Right.
But the thing, Fluky already had the votes. Fluky already had the votes on him at that point. So we only needed like 3 more votes to put on Fluky. So I felt like me, you, and Luke could have kept that vote on Fluky, and Fluky would have gone. Because Luke going home was not good for my game. And even Derek knows I really hesitated in voting for Luke. Like it was not best for me for Luke to go at that point. But then you guys were like neutral strong because Luke is a neutral.
All right.
What I learned in these games is you cannot just sit around and wait on a name to be said. If you wait on a name to be said, 9 times 10, that name's going to be yours.
Yes.
It was Dominic or Grayson that DM'd me earlier saying, what's your game plan for the night? But I said, game plan is just focusing on immunity. And then I'll go in for the siblings after that. I knew what I wanted to do tonight, coming to tonight, because I obviously was going to be a target. I had 12 steps. I was in the best position stepwise out of everybody. So I knew coming to tonight, I had to have a plan as to who name I was going to say. I'm never going to sit back and wait for my name to be said. And I wish that for everybody, because you have to be able to say a name. You can't wait on names to be said, because if your name, if it's the name that's said, it's going to get traction. And we all saw that tonight, and it's going to be easy to get that person. So
That's valid.
Okay. Well, I feel like we got a good sense of what happened in the first cycle. We didn't talk to Emerson, but I don't know if she might have had much to say about it. Let's talk the second cycle of the night. Emerson might have something to say about that one. But I do want to start off like this. Fluky, I understood like why you felt the way you felt, but like if you're still in the game, play the game. Like, don't like get in your feelings because people talking shit about you. The chat mad at Fluky because he quote unquote cheated. Like, people gonna talk shit, but if you in the game, fight to win. Like, that's all I had to say about it.
So let me. Can I talk more? Yeah, I agree with you. I think we can all agree here that I play with my emotions. It's just who I am. I'm just gonna say that. I think whatever you have to say about my pre-gaming, I think night one was probably my best play in my history of Stan Twitter. But
It
night
was.
two, I wasn't good because, and it is what it is, you know. And I talked to Emerson about this after her boot, but I just made too many alliances into night two because I felt that I needed to talk to everyone, and I wanted to talk to everyone because of, hey, like, listen, if you boot me to whatever, because it is like I cheated, quote unquote. But for me, when I saw Emerson not wanting to talk to me the whole game, and again, it was a misread. I talked to her about this. I just thought that she was the biggest threat to me, which I was wrong about, but I didn't want to vote Bryce because me and Bryce play a similar game. So that's what it is. And then in terms of the ceremony, I was really upset when I was telling the truth at who I wanted to work with. I even called me out for my bullshit. It wasn't bullshit, but I was playing bullshitty, you know? So
like, I will say this about that part. I feel like you were doing good until after you started with, I think you started with Derek, then you said Taisha, and then you said Ivan. If you would have stopped there, you would have been fine, but you didn't want to piss people off. So you kept going and you said, I also like Josie. I also like Bryce. And I was like, well, that's when I was like, well, damn, that's
part of that round for me was like Bryce was pissed at me. Bryce was pissed at me for like not giving him safety, which I did promise him, but like I felt like he didn't need it. So that was that. And like in terms of Taisha and Derek, like I was at like Taisha, I had a relationship with. I know she had a relationship with Derek, so I just wanted to use that. So I was just caught up in too much. That's all there.
Can I say something about that round? Because I felt like I think Fluky could have stayed that round because I really wanted Fluky to stay because I had in the breakout room, Jose told me she felt a little bit comfortable with Emerson, and then Bryce said the same thing to me. And at that point, I haven't spoken to Emerson. So I know that if these numbers are dwelling down, she won't have a problem voting for me over the two of them. So I spoke with Taisha in the breakout room that round, that people are feeling comfortable with Emerson. And I don't feel comfortable with Emerson. She doesn't feel comfortable with Emerson. So let us vote Emerson out instead of Fluky. And I think Derek was also like down for it in the breakout room to vote for Emerson that round. So I felt like if Fluky did not self-vote and like give up, if he had just stick to Taisha, Derek, and Ivan, I felt like me, Fluky, Derek, and Taisha would have saved him that round, and Emerson would have gone home. That round pissed me off because I was trying to help him by asking him, okay, they said you're a snake. Whose back here did you have? Give us names and we know where you are. And then he mentioned everybody in the Zoom. I'm like, I cannot help you with that.
Right. Ivan was trying to set you up. Ivan was like, listen,
I don't want to repeat.
Go ahead.
I don't want to repeat too much of what Ivan said, but it was the exact same. Like I was set on my vote until I got in the call, and Ivan was like, well, I'm not too sure if I'm feeling too good about Emerson. But the whole time is I was only going with the Fluky vote because there was that majority of the people that was going to go with the Fluky vote. But when Ivan started saying like he wasn't sure about that, like this and this, and I'm like, well, you know, this is something to be talked about because I'm down as well. But it was another situation of people just over talking. And again, hindsight's 2020. You don't know that in that moment, Fluky. So you're just playing your game in the moment. But it was the, you know, just vote me out thing for vote me out thing. I was still in the sense of I want to keep Fluky. I don't care what he's saying. Like my vote's my vote. I still want to keep him. but my one vote to these other 6 votes, like I can't do anything. And that was the same situation that not the same situation, but going back to when Price left, like I wanted to keep Price, but I can't convince 6 other people and piss off 6 other people to keep Price in the
knew
game.
that.
Wait.
I felt pretty much like
Yeah.
I had Taisha. That's why I was working so hard to get Maddie. But yeah.
What's up, Josie?
Let me let Josie Ann speak, then we're gonna go back to Fluky.
The funny thing is, I also wanted to keep Fluky. Me and Fluky had a chat in the room, and like, Fluky was like, "We really need to distance ourselves." Blah blah blah. So when Fluky didn't say my name, I wasn't like, "Fluky's coming after me now," because Fluky said in the room, "We need to distance ourselves," right? And I was like, Fluky had just given me safety, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, Fluky showed loyalty, and while Emerson is saying, Emerson is saying, "Oh, like you, me, and Ty." Will Emerson do the same for me? Will Emerson give me safety? Will Emerson do this? And I really wanted to work with Emerson. So I was really debating between the two, but I feel like there was, and when Ivan was talking about Emerson, I'm like, okay, Ivan's like my number one. So the fact that Ivan is okay with winning Emerson, I'm kind of okay with it at this point, but there was a lot again of talking. So honestly, maybe if Fuki hadn't spoken, it would have been like a majority, and I wasn't on the same page as Derek and Ivan about that. So I wouldn't have even been mad. So it's very interesting. Hindsight's 2020.
All right, Fluky, say what you got to say. Then I want
Yeah, and I guess this wrap up round 2, unless anything else.
I mean, we still got to hear from Emerson. She was a
part.
Oh
yeah, Emerson. Yeah, she was a big part. I will say, it wasn't a move more of like, oh, I'm done. Like in terms of like, I see myself going home. Because I think that was my situation the whole night. So I want to clarify that. I just left because I told Dom this before the game. If like, let's say the crazy fact that if Matt Fluky won the game, that would be crazy, right? Imagine me winning. That'd be bad. I would have still felt guilty. Like the whole, whatever happened, I would have felt guilty. So it was just too much. And I was like, I don't feel good being in round 2, if that makes sense. And all this happening, I just didn't want to play anymore. So as Sanchi said, I'm sorry this was a selfish move. But I just wanted to go home at that point. And I'm sorry if it screwed anyone. It is disheartening to hear, but even if I made it to round 3, I would have felt the same way because I still cheated according to Dom's rules and Grayson's rules. So that's how I felt about it.
Which is valid. We understand.
It's valid. It's valid.
Feelings. I will say, like, I have known other people. Like, I saw your DM to me night 1. I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna respond to it. But like, you're not the only person to ever play this game to DM people. I've received several DMs in this game before. I just don't respond to them because like I know those are the rules.
And it was still wrong. So
yeah, but
you are good. You are good. Emerson. No truth about this round. You almost went home, baby.
I know. So this round, I can't remember who I wanted to vote at the beginning because I know like Fluky, I don't think was brought to me until later in the round. And it was Bryce that came to me and was like, Fluky has been saying your name. And I was like, are you serious? Like what's going on? Like, is it like gaining traction? Like what, this is also partially why I trusted Bryce so much in the following cycles is because he was very honest with me during this round. And he told me like, we are like I am not planning on voting you, but like Fluky like needs to go. Because I was very confused as to why Fluky was throwing my name out. Because up until that point, like I had been very honest with him and I was planning on like working with him for like a few more cycles at least, or until like something else had happened. I felt throughout the entire merge, I felt very disconnected from everyone because I think there was not a single person in the merge where I felt 100% confident, like I am going to be with you. And the person that ended up being like the most, like the person that ended up gaining my trust the most just was Bryce. And it was mostly due to this round after like I felt like my like the neutrals that I came with would no longer like be with me, and then Bryce was just telling me what was going on when no one else was. And so that's why like because it was very late in the breakout rooms, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to anyone else until the actual beginning of the voting process started, which is why I'm like I don't think I said very much in terms
because I got
because
questions.
I think Fluky was just talking like so like a lot. But yeah, that's where I was like, because I didn't really know what was going on except Fluky's throwing my name out, and I don't. I thought that, you know, he wanted to work with me. I guess not. I guess he's got
Mhm.
loyalties elsewhere. I need to get Fluky out now. That was it.
Okay, so I'll say this real quick, Emerson. I heard a lot tonight from you and the reunion, and you were like, I felt like I was good with this person. I was willing to work with this person, but you also said you felt disconnected from everybody but Bryce. So I'm just trying to see like what were you doing to like let these people know that you like were really good with them? Because I feel like you had somewhat of a connection with everybody, but really a connection with nobody.
Yeah, no, like that's exactly what I would like. That's exactly what I would say. Like there was not a single person in the game that like would have actively wanted to take me to like final 2 or even final 3. Like I think in most people's minds, if not everyone, I was like definitely like a mid merge. Like I like that's when I need to be gone. So like I that's how I became
Do you
like the
think
most
that was
connected
on
to
your
Bryce.
part, or do you think everybody else just had stronger connections with each other? Like, who did you
I
want?
think well, because my plan originally, I was gonna go to merge with Jack. That was it. That was what I was
Mhm.
going for from the beginning. And then Cam, but like betrayed us, and then now all of a sudden the trust that I had in my team is like
Mhm.
completely gone. And
Mhm.
I haven't really been socializing with other teams. I didn't talk to like I don't maybe I talked to 1 or 2 villains yesterday, last night. I don't really remember if I did. It was very brief. And then
Mhm.
I talked to Josie, I think twice. But past that, I was like, I don't really know where I am standing with everyone. These people have all been working together, up through like pre-merge. They're obviously gonna still want to work together. But now I don't even have that with my own team. So I think it kind of was just like bad luck in the sense where like if Jack had been there, it would have been a very different story. But Jack
Mhm.
wasn't there, and Fluky was there instead. So
Mhm. Well, I'll say this from my point of view. This season, I felt like you were kind of like stagnant. You weren't as flexible as I've seen from you in the past. You kind of like had like what you wanted or like what you thought was gonna happen. You had your mind made up early, and you just kind of stuck with it. Like how you were saying, like I thought Jack was gonna be there. Well, you found out Jack wasn't gonna be there a long time ago. You didn't seem like you made any other plans. Same with like the Josie vote. Like you heard the plan before the cycle was going to be Josie. Then the cycle happens and people are talking and trying to give you other ideas, and you were just like, I heard Josie. So I just feel like this season you were just kind of like not as flexible as I've seen you in the past, and I feel like that might have been one of the reasons why you felt disconnected from other people.
yeah,
You weren't looking to
yeah.
move around as much.
I mean that makes sense, but I mean, like you said earlier for the Josie vote, like it was either like in my head, it was either Josie or Bryce. And then like given that that was like literally directly after the round where, you
Which
know,
makes a lot of sense. Mhm.
yeah. And so that's where I was like, if it had been Derek or Taisha instead, then I definitely would have gone for that. Like I did not feel very close with either of them. I felt the least close out of everyone with them. And
Mhm.
I like they were definitely people that I like did not want to go very far with, but then
Mhm.
it just like happened where like Fluky then threw my name out, and then
Mhm.
it was going to be either Bryce or Josie, and in between Bryce and Josie I felt more comfortable with Bryce. And
Mhm.
then it just happened to be like it just felt like it was not really on my side.
Yeah.
Even though I did try, like I was hopping around, and I was talking to Cam, and I was seeing where Cam was at, but I really didn't know where Cam was at because he had I didn't have that trust in him anymore that I did pre-merge because of what happened. um
Mhm.
so I don't know. I think it was a mix of a lot of things, like, and I don't know.
That makes sense. All right. Well, Ivan, I saw you had your hand up. You put it down. Was it about what Dominic talking about in the chat about, or was it about what Emerson was talking about?
No, I was just saying that she was flexible in the game as well because we're going at it. And I think after Jose left, we had a very good conversation and we understood that if we don't have each other's back, we are going to lose. So in that part, I've been gunning for her throughout. She was very flexible to work with me. Even when she went on that round and it was between us, she did not vote for me to go. So I think that aspect, she was a little bit more flexible. Just to add to that.
Yeah, and Jose, I know you got your hand up, but real quick, I would agree. I would agree and say that I didn't play much with Emerson last night. Well, I didn't play with Emerson last night at all, but from tonight, I would say that I've seen a flexible game from Emerson tonight. And that was some votes with me. That was some votes that wasn't with me. So she played games. She was trying to line herself up for the end. Unfortunately, it got her to that, I think, 4th, 5th, something like that. But I definitely saw some flexibility tonight for sure.
Okay, I mean, I was just giving my opinion. Like y'all were in the
it's your opinion. Sure. All opinions. For sure. All opinions.
Josie, what you gotta say, baby?
I'm sorry, the conversation happening in the chat is so funny. Okay. I was gonna say, like, it's kind of unfortunate to hear that like you felt connected, but not really, because I think I was pretty vocal with you on like how I really wanted to work with you prior to even making merge. Like I said to you, I felt like there was a lot of love from you outside of like just general support, which I didn't know half of this cast. I didn't have really relation. If I knew people on this cast, it was either I really liked them on a personal level, but I thought they were a threat strategically, or I didn't know them, or I had issues with them in previous games. There was no one who I was like, you're going to be working with me entirely 100%, blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, I really like Derek, but I know Derek's a threat. So it's like, and I felt like that was a lot of people that I liked. Maybe I just hang around some good competitors. I don't know. But I genuinely was like really open to playing with you. There are a lot of people who show love. Like I would have loved to work with John, but John got the boot. I would have loved to work with Jeremy. Jeremy got the boot. And so when it came to you, first of all, Jack also, I think out of everyone in the cast, I think I had the most trust with Jack based off no pregame, no nothing, because Jack again shows me a lot of love. And Jack was pro you. And so I felt like I really had, I was very much open to that. And maybe I just wish, I feel like a lot of the times that when I was going into rooms, I was pulling a lot of initiative. And I feel like a lot of people played a very quiet game, and that's okay. But it gets kind of frustrating when you feel like you're always the one trying to get people to talk to you and trying to make plans. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, I just want to be approached. And that's frustrating. So, you know, it's kind of sad to hear that you didn't feel connected, because I feel like I was very outward, very honest with you, very open to that. And yes, I understand that you and Bryce, whatever, we can talk about my week when my week comes. But in terms of at the merge, I think I was very open with you and very clear that I had really good intentions and I really wanted to work with you. So it just sucks.
Yeah, no, and
so I do want to say real quick, Josie, the person who donated the $25 to you commented in the YouTube chat. It said, Josie Ann, I'm a little late, but I'm the one who gave you the $25. You are so entertaining and a great player. Congrats, Queen.
Hey,
Mr. Boardwalk. Broadway.
True.
Well deserved.
But yeah, Emerson, did you have anything else to say about
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I really did want to work with you too. Like I was very honest with you throughout the like the first couple cycles that we did work together. Like I genuinely envisioned me, you, and Taisha like working together throughout the entire thing. The only thing was like well, then there was the whole thing where I was just very confused with what was going on in like that cycle, and people were like talking in code and I didn't really know like what was going on. But then there was also like, it was literally the fact that I liked you so much that I was like, there's not a single person in this game that has a bad word to say about Josiane. Like there's no one in this game that doesn't like her. Like everyone I've talked to has literally been like, she's so sweet, like she's amazing, like I adore her. And I was like, I feel the same way. And so that to me was dangerous, because I feel like if it came down to you, a lot of people in the game would have chosen you over me. And so that was kind of, that was something that was really scary to me. Like moving forward, I didn't think that it wasn't anything against like you personally. It was just like you were more likable than me, and I didn't need that.
Also, I think probably because me and Jose are tight and I was coming after you, I think that made it easier for you to vote out Jose, because you're like, well, our number one is coming after me, and I might as well just get her out to weaken Ivan and stuff like that. So it actually makes sense.
Yeah, that was a pretty big part of it too. It's because I knew you guys were really tight. And I wasn't sure. I figured that Ivan would be able to sway you if he really was like adamant on like getting me out. I didn't know like how many votes like there would have been, but I figured if Ivan was trying to sway anyone, he would be able to sway you. And so that was something that was also really scary to me. But yeah, that's pretty much why it happened the way it did. But I really did want to work with you at the beginning.
To be fair, I understand that statement. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping that no one watched Heroes Night 1 because oftentimes people would be like, I'm loyal to you, Josie. And I was always the one like deciding the votes and like stuff like that. And I feel like that was put very much on blast. Like I think every vote for Heroes, it was like, Josie, please, 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 please. So a lot of people were begging for me. So I thought, okay, this can make me a target night 2 if people really watched night 1. But
yeah, and I did watch night 1, so I did see that, and also was part of my decision.
Speaking of night 1, I feel like we talked a lot about cycle 1, 2, and 3 from night 2 already. I was gonna break down cycle 3 a little bit more, but I do want to talk about night 1. We don't have many pre-merge people here, just Jeremy and me, but I feel like it does deserve to be talked about because night 1 was very chaotic.
Yeah.
I guess we could start with who the villains were first. I already talked about the villains, but I guess we can talk about it some more if any of the other villains got something to say about night 1. Do y'all?
Jeremy
was not a villain.
No, it was
Yeah,
a
I feel
ninja.
like we started off the game
Yes, he
like
was.
very rowdy, like from the jump. So definitely set the tone for this game. But we like kind of like
Mellowed out. I will say that y'all. We started off foot on the pedal, and y'all kind of mellowed out, especially after me and Sophia left. I feel like y'all had already decided like what was going to happen. I do have one question: was Bryce always in your ideal final 3, or was it Jun?
So what's so crazy is Taisha and I, and that's what I was going to touch on when Emerson said that too. Taisha and I was like accidentally being like in the best spot like throughout this entire game, just being like the duo that we'd never even like discussed was just being like us and then another person. So it was always us and Jun or us and Bryce. So had Bryce not won that, it would have been Jun that we took to the end, and we discussed that. So Bryce was leaving pre-merge, but he won that, so we decided to stick with him to the end. Brought him in.
But
We got here. It was the same situation. So yeah. So
I didn't even know that.
That's what I was. Taisha. I mean, I feel like Taisha was on the same page.
Yeah, that was
that's
gonna happen.
Yeah.
That was gonna happen.
Derek, you would have voted Bryce, final 4 villains?
Yes, Bryce would have
Yes.
been pre-merge.
That was the plan.
I was nervous because I was definitely in the YouTube chat talking about how I was going to block you if you voted out Jun over Bryce, but glad to know I wouldn't have had to block you.
That's interesting. That's interesting for sure.
Yes.
Who was next? The neutrals were no, it was the heroes next.
Yeah.
Heroes. Let's talk about night 1. So that's Josie and Ivan.
I think
Is that
for the
That's it.
no, Jose, you go first. You go first.
Oh,
Also, if any of the pre-merge are in the chat, like I saw Pranoy in the chat, I saw
do you want to just break
Maddie.
it down?
Y'all can join the
I think for the heroes, the first night, me and Jose, we made our final 2 deal. And that final 2 became like the core thing of everything that happened. It became a final 3 with Demonica, and it became a final 3 with Prenoy, a final 3 with Bonnie. So me and Jose were like in a very good position throughout the game. I think I was on the right side of all the votes. I think the only vote you're not on the right side of was the Bonnie's vote, because you didn't want to vote Bonnie out that round. But we basically had to dictate everything that happened throughout that round till the end of it.
So for night 1, I wasn't actually on the right side of the votes for a lot of them. So round 1, I was on the right side of the votes. Meg was going if Luke was safe and vice versa.
Yeah.
Round 2, who left round 2?
Demonica.
Demonica.
I did not vote for Demonica. I did
I
not
think-
want the Demonica.
I didn't vote for her.
did
I was
not want
saved
the-
that round.
vote
So
for
let me
Demonica,
explain
so
what
I
happened
did not
that
vote.
round.
Wait,
that round
before
was
you go to
chaotic.
cycle 2, Dominic, can you go ahead and give us the vote breakdown from cycle 1 of the heroes? I feel like a
That
lot
was
of people had
insane. It
questions.
was like a
Yeah,
3-1-1-1.
I got you.
Like,
Yeah.
it was
We
insane.
got, so it was 3 votes Meg, 1 vote Josie, 1 vote D, 1 vote Ivan.
Mhm.
DeMonica voted Ivan. Bunny voted DeMonica. Meg voted Josiane, and then Pernoy, Ivan, and Josiane voted Meg.
And
Okay.
see, I knew I was
Okay.
not delusional.
I think that vote really set me up because everyone was trying to prove themselves to me because I think Ivan, once the vote was revealed, I think Ivan was like, well, it's obvious Meg voted for me, which is true. Like to everyone's perception, that's what we thought because Meg and Ivan were kind of going at it at that point, like not like aggressive, but it just felt like, you know what I mean, like a defense mechanism. And so everyone was like, Josie, I didn't vote for you. Let me prove myself. Let me prove myself. Turns out everyone was telling the truth because it was Meg.
Yeah.
And so
I
that
wish the
vote-
other people were here so we can get their thought process because I want to know why they decided to vote Ivan or
It
why
was
they vote
It's
DeMonica.
who voted. Demonica voted for Ivan. I
Yeah,
don't.
Demonica.
I don't know why Demonica voted for me, but I already heard that she already told Luke that I was throwing out Luke and Meg's name because I was in a call with Luke
Yes.
and Luke said he's protective of Meg, and that's information I can use against them. So I carried that information and I ran with it, and then it became the reason why we had to separate Meg and Luke for that round. But Demonica already went to tell them that I was the one spreading this information around. So that made sense if Demonica voted for me at that point. But I don't just understand why, because I thought we were good.
Yeah.
Okay, and so cycle 2 of the heroes was very funny. My favorite cycle of the season. I'm sorry. But DeMonica went home.
Yeah.
Why did either of you vote for DeMonica?
No, I was saved that round.
I knew
was
So you
DeMonica was
saved and you
going.
did it. So
I was
knew
saved
that
that round.
The thing is, I knew DeMonica was going. I didn't vote like, oh, DeMonica saying. I voted
was
because
that the plan before the cycle, or did that happen at the cycle?
So
I think-
what happened is that because me, Ivan made a final 3 with DeMonica,
Mhm.
and DeMonica had gone and spread what Ivan had said to us 3 in that room.
Uh-huh.
I think that put doubt in my head about DeMonica, and so did I think Ivan felt that same way. However, I don't think either of us pushed DeMonica. Someone else did, and
No.
it just did you push DeMonica?
Nobody pushed Demonica. So we were in the breakout room and
Oh,
Demonica brought out the cards. She brought out cards. She's like, I'm a psychic.
Tarot cards, yeah.
I'm a psychic. And then she's like, I'm gonna tell you who lied. It's Prenoy.
Yeah.
Prenoy. So she had her eyes set on Prenoy because her psychic cards told her that Prenoy lied to her.
Wait, okay, let me explain DeMonica's breakdown because it's actually funny because DeMonica said that it was a fire sign, and so DeMonica got Leo, but Prenoy is in Aries, and so it was clear as day that it was Prenoy for DeMonica, and in that room when they were having that conversation, it was Ivan, DeMonica, and Prenoy came in. So like they came in and whatever, and then at some point DeMonica and I have a conversation, and DeMonica's, I'm clairvoyant, and this is the energy I got, so I believe that Prenoy voted for me. I cannot trust Prenoy. Prenoy must go. Then Prenoy came into the room with all 3 of us, and DeMonica says, I'm going after you because you voted for me. You're the vote. It's in the cards.
It was funny.
DeMonica goes, I heard your name. I don't know if you said my name or you're saying it in the future, but I heard you in my head say my name. I heard it in your voice. So I will be voting for you. And from that point on, I said, you know what? I'm not messing with Monica.
You know what? I was listening to Demonica. I was like, yeah, it is Prenoy. It is Prenoy. So our final 3 with Demonica already died because she went around to tell our story. But we also had the final 3 with Bonnie and Prenoy. So it's like, okay, now the final 3 with Bonnie is the main thing because I feel like Prenoy is lying because I believed Demonica's psychic stuff. So I'm like, okay, the final 3 we have now is Bonnie. So we went to Bonnie and we're like, okay, let's make a plan on who to vote out. From my understanding, I didn't even know Demonica was getting votes. I think the whole what happened in the fight was like, okay, she's the easy vote. Let's just get that energy out.
I'm going to clarify, Bunny, the final three between you, me, and Bunny was my number one. So already maybe we weren't on the same page as who was our third, our real third. But
no, I was on board with Bunny until Demonica got voted out and Prenoy started talking. Because I'm like, I felt Prenoy was telling the truth. I felt Prenoy was telling the
you
truth.
You could tell that Prenoy was saying the truth. Prenoy was saying everything. I will not play games on the vote chart because I did not vote this way.
Yes.
And I know Prenoy. Prenoy is a gamer. I believed it 100%. I believed in my heart that Bunny didn't vote for me. I just didn't understand why Bunny wasn't saying I voted for this person, even if it wasn't Meg. Because I don't care, bro. As long as you're not voting for me.
Now we see why Bunny wasn't saying I voted this person.
But with Bunny, it's because I know that Bryce was already campaigning against me pre-game, and I knew that him and Bunny were partners, like in prior games. And when you're partnered with someone, whether you guys were in bad terms before, when you're partnered with someone, you guys have to work together. That relationship kind of get repaired. So when I confirmed that he was lying, to me it's like Bunny's dead to me. I don't care what anyone says. Prenoy is now my final three. Bunny gotta go.
So it sounds to me like y'all had a very similar setup to Derek and Taisha, where it was like the two of y'all and a third, and the third person kept rotating, and it ended up being Luke because Luke just happened to
immunity.
I think the only difference is that I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ty or Derek, but I don't think you guys were necessarily on bad terms with Bryce. I think it was very obvious to Luke that we wanted Prenoy to be in the final three with us. And so we knew, in my mind, I was already thinking about night two when I knew that I was going to it. In my mind, I'm like, immediately, I know that odds are the villains could be in the same boat as us. And I really like Ty. I really like Derek. I've worked with both before, and Ivan is loyal. And I feel like Ivan and Derek will like each other because they're very similar. They're forthright to, like, Derek will lie sometimes, but Derek is very forthright in general. And so I was like, they're gonna like each other, and it works out because I would love to work with them for. Obviously, my tune kind of changed a bit night two later on, and vice versa. So yeah.
But also, Bunny was saying that he was very loyal to Jose, but he was not exactly telling me that he was loyal to me. Whereas Prenoy told me that he wants to have a final two with me. So when you're talking of final four and someone is saying that they're loyal to Jose and not you, I don't want to be in final four with Bunny because I knew that Bunny being in final four benefits Jose more than it benefits me. So that was why, even though Jose was pushing for Luke at final five, I'm like, no, Jose has to go. Bunny has to go because I don't want that much power, like someone I can't convince at all to be in final four because he was dead set loyal to Jose and he already expressed concern about me to Prenoy.
That makes a lot of sense.
To be fair, though, everything I say, it just like fine wine because I said, y'all, we should get rid of Luke because Luke will win safety and we want it to be us three, and look what happened. I'm just saying, when
for me, I had it better. I think for me and Luke were still talking games. I was just not like 100. I was just not loyal to him. I still tried to protect him as much as I could, but I was not just loyal
and
to
then also it went to a randomizer, so it could have been Ivan that got that final safety.
The thing is that I don't think Bunny was really trying to like.
But if I got the
-6, like Luke was on it. Like Luke was always on it every round. Bunny
I feel like if
6.
Ivan did vote Luke that cycle, the final four cycle for y'all would have been like Ivan and Prenoy versus you and Bunny, and I feel like that might have put more.
No, it would have been Prenoy, Bunny, and Jose against me. No, me. No, it would have been me and Jose. Prenoy and Bunny would have been together because they have some kind of report as well. Bunny and Prenoy had some kind of report, but they did not have that with
the reason I don't agree with that is because Prenoy and Bunny were going after each other at the vote. In my mind, if again, perceptions rely on that, right? In my mind, Prenoy and Bunny are going after each other in the vote. Vote Prenoy, vote Bunny. You're already creating distrust. You guys were just trying to push each other, right? So in my mind, I'm like, me and Ivan will be sitting pretty because if it's final four, if Bunny gets safety, me and Ivan are not going to turn on each other, period. If I get safety, I'm going to discard it. If Ivan gets safety, Ivan is going to discard it. So the best play for both me and Ivan, because yeah, I can say I'm an individual player, but I still ride for my allies. So
Yeah.
in my opinion, the best move for me and Ivan, sorry Prannoy, sorry Bunny,
That was
best move for us two was that Final Four situation.
Yeah.
At the end, it still worked because we were controlling the heroes, period.
It
But
seems so funny to me how similar the heroes and villains night one went versus the chaos that was
neutrals.
the neutrals. So let's talk to the neutrals for a second, because we have almost all of the neutrals here, and we definitely have the chaos here. Shout out to Fluky. So let's talk about the neutrals. So y'all first cycle, who went home the first cycle for the neutrals? I can't remember.
Santi.
That was Santi. What happened there? Why was Santi the target for that first
So
cycle?
I guess I should talk for this one. I guess I mean Jeremy could definitely. I guess Cam. Yeah, you guys can back me up when I tell.
Everybody
you.
go talk. Fluky, go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, my loyalties were with Emerson, Cam, and Jack. I just gravitated toward them, but I did want Rachel gone first because of her connections, because she plays a hell of a social game, and I was worried about the villains, as I should be, because you guys are stacked. So that was my pitch to everyone. And Santi spread that around, which I don't blame because it's fishy behavior.
So cycle one, you were already talking about we gonna have to come for the villains.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like I told everyone on our team, like I feel like we're the worst group, and it's just how it is. And everyone can say that I said that. But what bothered me was Santi said like something's a brewing, and I was like, oh, I don't like this talk. And what happened when I was talking to Rachel, because I wanted to clear things up. She was receptive to work with me, and Santi wanted to work with me, Jeremy, and Rachel, and I wasn't comfortable with that lines. It was just because he made it and he was saying something to brewing, and I was like, fuck this. So I gunned for safety, and I was selfish about it. I knew what I was doing, but I pitched it to the minority alliance like I didn't know what I was doing. So that was cycle one for me, at least. And I knew Emerson was going to get the tiebreaker.
I'm sorry, start up. So who pitched the alliance? What was the alliance?
Santi.
So
pitched the alliance of what?
basically, I came into the game like with my research. Like I knew that Emerson and Jack were close, and I knew that Emerson and Cam have worked together in previous games. So I thought like that might be a 3. So I went to Santi right away, and I was like we need to get Rachel and Fluky like to make a 4, but I kind of wanted like he's like I'm more of a quiet player and he's more of an active player, so like obviously he was the one to go and like start like making those alliances with Fluky and Rachel.
Oh wow. Wait, quick. Does anybody have questions for Dominic? I think he's trying to leave. No. I do. I have a question for Dominic. I'm gonna come back to the news.
He said he's not
I just want Dominic to tell me.
Dominic said he's not leaving.
He said he's not trying to leave. So
Oh, he's not trying to leave. Oh, okay, never mind. Well, let's
I do have questions for so,
let's keep going with the neutrals. I'm sorry. So cycle one, Jeremy, you were aligned with who? I'm sorry. I got sidetracked.
Okay, I kind of came up with a game plan that me, Fluky, Rachel, and Santi would be a 4, just because I felt like at the Emerson, Jack, and Cam contingency
Which
was
makes
like
a lot of sense because
very clear from the
Cam
get-go.
and Emerson had just previously played a duos season together, and Emerson and Jack are well known to be
rival season.
It was still a pair. Y'all were still a pair. Like
yeah.
So I understand your thought process there. And so
we're trying to target
who?
We're trying to target Cam because I felt like I can make a better argument at the final 6, or at the final 6 in the team for the target Jack. What's going on in the chat? Anyways, to target Jack and Emerson, it just because they have a tighter connection.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Fluky, and you said you felt unsafe with Santi, so that's why
it wasn't against Jeremy or Rachel. I just didn't like how Santi approached that round, and I'm sorry to Jeremy and Rachel that's the label that happened. But I was like, I don't like this alliance. I don't feel secure because I just started shit with Rachel, and then Santi's saying something to Brewing, so I didn't like it at all.
Okay, no, I get it. So you said fuck that. I'm keeping safety. And Santi, Jeremy, and Rachel were just kind of like half out. I got you. I got you. And
like me
Emerson had the
meeting
tiebreaker that round.
yeah, and meeting like if I'm being real with you, meeting safety, like let's say Emerson, Cam, or Jack didn't get that tiebreaker, and the Jeremy, Santi, and Rachel alliance happened. I'll act. Oh hell yeah, let's get him out. Like Santi was right. It was a selfish move, but I never done the safety auction before, and it was the time to do it, in my opinion. So, because I stirred up some trouble the first round and every round for that matter.
I mean, every round, like it was. I'm sorry, like I felt like the neutrals were kind of like dragging, but y'all were funny. Like it was chaos. Like, oh my goodness, every side. Like it started out like the villains. Cycle 1, the villains had the best cycle. Cycle 2, the heroes had the best cycle. After that, it was all neutral all the time. Like
we were stirring it up.
yeah. So cycle 1, Santi goes home. Fluky is starting off on his chaos era. He said, "I'm a villain tonight, baby." Cycle 2, who won safety cycle 2?
Well,
Oh, Jeremy.
That's a complicated question.
so we
That's a
had
very
like,
complicated question.
so basically, Fluky kind of led me to a plan. This like really elaborate plan just to vote me off because he wanted his moment.
So what happened? What was the plan? Give us the tea.
Okay,
you
wait.
weren't there.
I sent a video to Dominic.
Pull out the whiteboard. Pull out the whiteboard.
I sent a video to Dominic this morning about it. One second.
And I will say at the like I was pitching damage control to them, saying I made a rookie mistake the first round.
Yeah. So basically, you might need to. How am I gonna do this? I had to mirror my video.
Baby, you asking me too many questions. I don't know how to do that.
Okay. I don't know if you can see this.
Okay, yeah, we can.
You might have to pin my video, but basically the plan was that Rachel was gonna get the tiebreaker, and then I was gonna get immunity, and me and Fluky were gonna pass it back and forth, and then pass it to Jack, and then if Jack destroys it, then it's like 3-3, but Rachel has a tiebreaker, and if Jack keeps it, then it's just Cam and Emerson voting. So that was the really elaborate plan, but
okay, my question, real quick question. Why pass it back and forth?
Because you can only have 5 passes. So
I thought 3. It's only 3 passes.
No, it's 5.
It's 5? Dominic, it's 5?
Something like that.
Okay, wait, I got a question real quick before I forget. So, Fluky, you were working with Jeremy, or you were working with Rachel, or who was you working with?
So my true alliance was with Cameron, and we'll talk about that later because I think we can talk about that with the whole Jack vote off. We'll address that later. But my alliance, I was like, I'm Emerson, Jack, and Cameron. I'm with you. But
playing
I was
all sides basically.
Yeah, I was labeled as a double agent because Santi pulled me into that alliance, but I still played it. So what I said this round to Jeremy and Rachel is like, I made a rookie move the first round. I didn't realize there were 6 votes, and that's why I said let's make this elaborate plan. And I knew Jeremy was the next target because no one wanted Rachel gone. So that sorry to elaborate so much, but that's the answer to your question, Derek.
No, I got you.
Well, when you told me you wanted to work with me, but you also told me you wanted your moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being real. I'm being real with you. I realized I could screw you, and I did. I wanted my moment, and it was my moment, so it worked.
I'm sorry, but the idea of Fluky making Jeremy, who already had the iconic of going home with the tiebreaker vote, safety, and the double up in hand, get safety again and give it away to vote him out is insane. Like,
I wasn't aware Jeremy did this before until he tweeted his montage tonight. And
this was also the third time, because the second time I destroyed it, and then Derek turned the tides against me.
Now I'm gonna say I did say to my alliance, if we're doing Rachel, I'm not gonna do it. Only Jeremy needs to go. And throughout the whole neutral round, I said I'm only doing this move if we do this person. Like, I'm not voting out this person. So that was pretty consistent with me.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wanted to vote out Rachel at that point anyways. I think
I always had ultimatums though. It was kind of
like Rachel started coming to the picture, and I'm sure
but I will say this about Jeremy, he is a very smart and strategic player, and when he made that plan with me, I was like, God damn it, this is gonna suck.
I just think I feel like it made more sense to go with me and Rachel, just because then you're
Okay,
guaranteed a
yeah.
3 if that works out. Where you're not guaranteed top 3 if you went with Cam, Emerson, and
Can you elaborate?
yeah. Well, it's just like numbers. If you're working with Cam, Emerson, and Jack, and you get to 4, you're not like but then me, Rachel, and Cam, or no, sorry, me, Rachel, and you would have been a 3, and you would have been guaranteed top 3 in Sunday's game if you stuck with us.
I just wanted to play with the people I was playing with, so and then it worked out. So
Yeah.
All right, so cycle 2, Jeremy, Rob. Oh, I was so hurt. Not Emerson, Cam. Were you in on the plan to vote out Jeremy like prior? Did you know like this was gonna happen?
Yeah, I think it was talked about. I think me, Emerson, and Jack had talked about we weren't going to go for it. We were going to stay with
You, Emerson, and Jack had kind of like solidified a 3 early on.
Yes, we had kind of talked about it. What's up?
and I was supposed to go home too. I heard too.
Oh, when?
Supposedly there's a idea for me to go home that round too.
Oh no, Fluky, you weren't going home. I was
Okay.
I wasn't going to
Yeah.
vote.
Cam, was there anything I could have said?
Respectfully, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to who I actually wanted out, but yeah, me, Emerson, and Jack, we were going to keep it 3. To keep it a buck, I knew in the prior season, I can't remember if it was season 13 or 15, whatever the duos was, me, Emerson went right behind Jack and their partner. So I knew Emerson and Jack were good. I was like, let me hop on this train. Let me be that 3rd. So that's already 3. I'm going to be with Fluky. So I got 4 right there.
So you were sitting pretty all of night 1. You was just chilling.
Well, I wasn't sure because I was honestly, Jeremy, I was a little afraid of you because I was like, well, they could get Jeremy. And then, I mean, I kind of figured Santi was going to go home first. And then then Rachel. And I knew Rachel could social her way up. And I thought that she could take my spot too. So I guess I could say I was sitting pretty, but I don't think I fully.
Was there anything I could have said to you when I was pitching that would have made you flip over?
If you would have said, I don't know if everyone would have gone for it. It's tough. If we could have got, kill me. If we could have got the votes for Emerson, I probably would have voted there, to be honest.
But what you said was that you kind of made it Rachel's choice from what I remember. You're just like, Rachel, what do you want to do?
Oh, that was me. I think I'm trying to remember it. I think that was me forcing Rachel to say something because at that point she had been way too quiet for me. And I was sick of her being in the corner, just chilling and smiling. I wanted to hear her voice and what she had to say.
That was smart. That was smart because Rachel was trying to play the middle in a sense, but she had a side. But she was never vocally like saying like Jeremy and Fluky were vocally saying this is what's going on, like arguing, like fighting, stuff like that kind of stuff. And Rachel was with them, but she wasn't saying anything. So when you called her out on that, you forced her to like say, yeah, I'm trying to ride with Jeremy or throw Jeremy under the bus, which she did.
Because if she would have said, I'm going for Emerson, I would have honestly really thought about that. I don't know if I fully now again, this is past, so I don't know if I actually would have done it. I would have really considered it though.
Emerson, I don't know if you're still here or not. Did you have any connection with Rachel or were you just fully on the Cam Jack train?
Like I said, Jeremy's persuasion kind of scared me at that point too. He was talking very well to Cameron, and I was like horrified at that point too.
Yeah.
Was Rachel in on the plan, Matt?
No chance. I mean, not for me, and I'm not taking away from her. I just I was like, that's why I said I'm sorry, Jeremy and Rachel, but yeah.
Okay. So what it sounds like Cam, Emerson, and Jack had a trio. Fluky wanted to work with Cam, and Cam knew Fluky wanted to work with him. And then Fluky threw Jeremy and Rachel under the bus.
And I let Emerson know. I think I don't know if I told Cam, but I let Emerson know this is what I'm gonna do. Like this is what I'm really gonna do. Because I never got the chance to talk to Cam before I made that move. So I think some people knew beforehand. So
they were scared of the tiebreaker, Daddy. I know that's right.
Can someone clarify this for me? I'll just say it out loud. But I just said, was Jeremy going to go regardless, whether it was that round or the round before next? Because from my understanding, even if Jeremy would have kept safety, Jeremy was a target name already out there, so Jeremy would have gone round 3.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to get from Emerson, but I don't think she hears.
I think if Jeremy stayed, I go home next.
Okay, so actually, yeah, your name was brought up then, so you may have gone home there, Fluky.
Exactly.
If Jeremy would have kept it. So yeah, you may have gone home.
I
Yeah,
thought you were
Jeremy,
Rachel.
no more giving safety, please. I beg.
I know if I ever play again, I will keep
Jeremy,
safety. I
if
promise.
you ever play again, you get safety, keep it. Because
yeah,
I played this is my 4th season. I can't remember right now, but every time I've gone home and it's always been first boot, I won safety and I gave it away.
Yeah,
well, actually,
no,
no, I didn't win safety this round. I just didn't get safety. Never mind.
Yeah, I
basically
like
gave
won
it
this.
away because I put 0.
Yeah, I won the safety auction 3 times, and I haven't kept it 3 times, and I got voted out that same round 3 times.
I don't know. It's the curse of destroying safety. I don't know. But I don't know if we need to talk about cycle 4 for the neutrals because Rachel's not really here. But that was a very interesting cycle.
I will say Cameron kind of nailed this cycle though, because he knew that we need to make a move too.
Yeah. So who won safety that cycle? Remind me. I forgot.
Rachel, but she discarded. Like, so me and Cameron, I hope you could talk here too. We had to explain to Rachel, like, we need to make this move now because Emerson and Jack were a duo. And there was a lot of scenarios like, okay, if you like put herself in her shoes right now, like she just got lied to and backstabbed by me twice, right? And we had to convince her to discard, and Cameron helped a lot with that. And she did. I forget, there was so many scenarios that I had to run through Cam and Rachel, and it was just chaotic, but it worked out. And Emerson and Jack were gunning for me, so Rachel could have easily turned against me too, which I'm amazed by. But it was just a chaotic round that round as well. So I'm sure Cameron has.
What I'm hearing is you and Cam was just throwing people under the bus. People getting safety. Y'all like, no, you don't need that. Safety.
Cameron recognized the importance of getting out Emerson and Jack. And
to be honest,
that was cycle 3, right? So cycle 3 is when Jack went home.
Yeah.
So Rachel won safety that cycle,
and she discarded.
I thought we were talking about cycle 4 when Rachel.
Had she not discarded, I'd probably go home.
So Rachel won. Rachel discarded, and you, Rachel, and Cam voted out Jack.
I'm not trying to be on the Emerson hate train. I would have rather voted Emerson there and kept Jack, but
I threw ultimatums.
It sound like you always want Emerson gone, but you don't never want to say it. Next time, just say it.
Listen, I did try to get her out. Okay, if I'm being completely honest,
I'm just saying if you say it, I'm pretty sure other people gonna hop on board.
That was honestly coming into the game. I did kind of want to go after Emerson. I'm not gonna lie to you. She was on my board to get out, but it just didn't work out that way, and it just kept on not going my way of Emerson going home. So I was like, now the final cycle. If no one has anything else to say,
I have something to say. I don't really understand from Fluky's perspective. If he said he might have went home cycle 3, I don't understand what the whole purpose of the theatrics were in round 2 to get me out. If he was going to put himself in danger in round 3.
Jeremy, I'm gonna explain to you. His name is Matt Box, aka Fluky. That man is the most chaotic person in any game ever. You will never understand a move Fluky makes because he is fluky. So that is all the explanation you will.
It was a good move.
It's like, yeah, it was a good move.
It was a good move.
But like,
it just felt like he was avoiding the logical move to have his moment. That's just what it felt like, and it felt like it's frustrating when it's at my cost.
I made it to the merge.
I'm gonna say this. In my point of view, the way Dominic worded the teams, I felt like the neutral players were the players who couldn't be read the most. They were the most quote unquote illogical players. Like the villains were logical because you can't trust them. The heroes were logical because generally they play with loyalty. The neutrals, you'll never know. And I feel like that is why I was okay with Fluky being a neutral, because he gives that to a T. He just very villainous when he do it. So
I mean, and SA was very loyal with everything too. But I was still yelling and shit.
Yeah, I understand your frustration, Jeremy, though.
I'm just gonna
I've been
say
there.
that
I've been there with Fluky before.
this is not necessarily directed towards the fluky, but sometimes when you play a game, not everyone plays with logic, and it is what it is. I have played several games where people just do not be making or using the common sense. I'm not saying it's the situation, but I'm just saying some people just be playing to do whatever they can do to just be chaotic, to have fun, to have their moment, whatever it is. So you also, that's why you have to get rid of the wild cards, which is what me and Price said in the beginning. We were saying the neutrals are the most dangerous because you don't know what the heck is going on with them prior to knowing who the teams were. So
Yeah.
No, I know we want to stay here, but like, listen, I think I am an illogical player, and I will agree with that. But I'm gonna say this again: I was the most proud of my performance last night because I thought it through, and I thought it through with Cameron most of the time. And
when we say illogical, Fluky, we're not saying like your moves didn't have like
logic.
I had a plan. I
logic.
had a plan,
We're
and it
saying
worked. You know,
other people like may not see where it's coming from. You never know like what you're gonna do because your logic is your logic. It's not like regular, like, okay, this like with other
Mhm.
people making moves, like Derek making moves, you gonna know what type of move Derek gonna make because it's a regular type of logical move. With you, I don't know. Like
You're
after
right.
the fact,
You're right.
you explain it, like, okay, I understand what you were going for, but it's like still, I'm just like,
Exactly. And Jeremy is right about the theatrics. It's just how I am. And I was thinking about passing it back to you, and you were going to pass it back to me, and I was going to do it then. But it was unnecessary, and that's why I apologize so much to you and Rachel so much, Jeremy. I felt bad for the moment, and
stop doing that. Make your move and don't
I
apologize.
know, but I still, Jeremy's a good guy, and I like him, and I
He can
really
be a
did.
good guy. You can
I
still
know.
fuck him over.
But the theatrics it still can burn you really hard. So that's why I did it the way I did. So
Yeah, for me, it was like we came up with a plan to split up Jack and Emerson, and then like you kind of went against that, but then you kind of went through with that the next round. So
Yeah.
to me, and I would have been loyal to you. So to me, it's like why go through all that just to go back and vote Jack next round.
You're right.
And
I
then
feel like
I can
it
agree with
worked
that.
out for him though, because getting rid of you first, he solidifies his ties with Jack and Emerson. But
Mhm.
then he gets rid of Jack the next round because he he has Cam, and now Rachel has to do it because she didn't have an option.
Can I say it like this, Jeremy, too? If I get rid of Emerson or whoever we do in your round, can Cameron and Emerson / Jack, whoever survives, really trust me? Because I just flip-flopped. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
What I said to Cameron, Emerson, and Jack is you need to trust me this round. I'm gonna prove it to you here. And I did that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's that we need to move on, but I that it is what it is.
I feel like we talked about all of the neutral cycles enough. We didn't really talk about the fourth one, but it kind of was self-explanatory. What was the fourth one? Let's
The
go.
Rachel one was probably the biggest
Get into
one.
it, Cam. I'm sorry. Get into it.
So Fluky and me are talking, right? Okay, Fluky's like, okay, we're gonna keep Emerson. I'm like, oh no, I'm keeping Rachel. If Emerson doesn't win, I'm voting her off. Like I'm voting Emerson off. I'm taking Rachel. It's gonna be me, you, and Rachel. And Fluky said, it's gonna be me, you, and Emerson. So at that point, I knew, of course, it came down to Rachel and Emerson both going for just safety. And if Emerson doesn't win that and Rachel does, hopefully Fluky still doesn't vote me and he votes out Emerson with me.
Mm-hmm.
So Fluky was in a good
So Fluky, what do you got to say? What was?
I don't remember saying that exactly, Cameron. I mean, I did have a preference of Emerson, but I remember telling you whoever wins safety, we just need to stick together. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It has, so I hate to disagree with what you said, but I mean, if I said that, I said that, but
It seemed like you were pretty adamant, like you wanted to keep.
yeah, I had a preference, but I wasn't like being derogatory like that. I wanted Emerson there over Rachel, just again, because I think Rachel's a good player. Not to say Emerson's not a bad player, but I was just more worried about because Rachel's had some things to say about me during the game. So for me, but I remembered telling you specifically, whoever doesn't win, we just need to vote together, you know. And I obviously told you my preference. So I mean, if I did say it like that, I'm sorry that I was so derogatory like that. I just don't recall. But
All right, Joker.
You're on mute.
Okay, I'm gonna say I just want to reference a YouTube comment for a sec, but then I want to talk about the cycle for the neutrals for a second. Isaiah, I did vote for Meg first because apparently she did you dirty last time, so I wanted retribution for Silent Podcast. So love that you just commented. Always got you, my brother Isaiah. Anyways, and okay, I'm in this. Okay, so this has to do with Derek as well, because so cycle 4 for neutrals happens and me and Derek just casually run into each other. And Derek goes, "Oh yeah, I'll have some tea for you." I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" Derek goes, "Did you know Luke and Cam are brothers?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said,
I told you I started spreading this at the last round.
I
Yes.
literally was yelling, and I said, "What do you mean?" So immediately, that's when I started really trying to watch the neutrals. I didn't really follow as much as I wanted to because I was focused on heroes. But I said, if Derek knows that, that must mean the neutrals know that, and they know Luke's still here. So are the neutrals gonna vote for Cam at some point? Because I've been trying to push the Luke agenda, and it's not happening here. So can the neutrals get it together to get Cam out? And then I tune into the YouTube, and everyone's begging, pleading for Cam's vote. I said, hold on now. So we're gonna get both siblings in here? That's insane. That was the moment I knew, and I was like looking at Cam some type of way. But me and Cam had good vibes night one, so or like pre-game Zoom. So I was like, damn, this is insane. I can't do this because me and Luke are on opposite end, and me and Cam got good vibes, and I wanted to work with Cam. What's going on? That's all I had to say about that round.
So I found out, so my bad, Fluky, but I found out literally when I told Josiane, I found out like right before that. I was like, y'all, I gotta go. I gotta spread this. Like somebody else needs to hear about this other than me. Like, cause how is nobody like worried about this? So
Yeah,
I feel like
I want to say
if
something.
we'd have found out earlier had I found out earlier, like everyone would have known a lot sooner because that was not tea I was gonna hold on to. However, I'm glad it played out how it played out because it created a storyline for tonight. So yes.
Wait, Derek, can I blow your mind a little more?
Yo, what's up?
So there's two more. So Luke and Meg are childhood best friends, which you all know. And then all three of them are like really great IRL friends with Maddie.
Maddie?
Okay. It all worked out.
Oh,
for like,
Luke was the one that told Maddie to trust Sophia and Bryce.
Yes.
Oh,
That makes sense now.
I could
That makes sense.
okay, now that you said that, Dominic, I can just say that during the
Makes
pregame
sense,
Zooms
yes.
and the beginning of night one, 7:30, I was looking also who was going into what rooms. Meg and Luke were always in rooms together. Then Sophia and Meg and Luke were always together. And then Bryce came in a few times. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, those four are automatically together. And then you tell me that there's a brother in there as well. Like I kind of clocked that because they spent way too many times together in those breakout rooms.
You couldn't catch me in a room with Luke the day one. Me and Luke didn't even touch a room together. I was going to make sure no one could even say, look at Luke and Cam in the same room together. I was going to make sure. Derek, how'd you find out that we were brothers?
So I will say this is how it happened. Josie Ann during the final hero cycle, Josie Ann asked Luke, "Is Cam your brother?" And Luke was like, "No." And then Josie Ann was like, "Oh, okay." Then Luke was like, "No, I'm lying. That's my brother." And then everybody was like, "What?" And then Luke was like, "No, I'm lying again. That's not my brother." And then I'm in the chat like, "Damn." Dominic said, "Do y'all research? Don't nobody know they siblings?" And
Exactly.
that's how everybody
Somebody
found out.
on my team.
Prior to that, Jose already found out about them because she put me aside and told me before then, and we're like, "Luke gotta go."
When I speak with intention. When I wasn't really asking Luke for real, I knew what the tea was. I believe what Derek says. So
Derek told you before that cycle.
No, it was before that cycle. Derek told Jose, then Jose pulled me aside.
Here's my thing. I was doing that for two reasons. One, I knew that the villains had just finished. So I knew the villains were going to be tuned in. So I could clock Luke because I didn't trust Luke, and I could possibly clock Cam. No shade Cam, but I was on survival mode. Two, I wanted to see if I could trust Luke, because if Luke says, yeah, we're brothers, but I think this will be to your advantage, I would be more receptive night two. So I was doing that with intentions, but when I was asking, it wasn't really a question. It was a platform for Luke to gain my trust, but also to clock that T for the other neutrals who may already be watching because they were going after us. So I was doing that with intent. Period.
Oh, Derek, how did you-
Their display names were also Cameron Whitney and Luke Whitney for the entire duration of the game.
And never paid attention to any of that. Like not
I'm
one.
gonna be honest.
But so I was just sitting in the call in my team chat. It was me, Bryce, Taich, and I can't remember if Sophia was here at that point. But somebody brought up the fact that I was brothers. What? So I was like thrown off. I was like, wait. And nobody I'm like, how are they still here? Like, why are they both still here? So I immediately once we were able to move, I immediately left that call. And the first person I ran into was Josiane. I told Josiane first. And I was just like, this is just what I've heard. I don't know how true it is, but it's T. And then today, outside of what Dominic just said about looking at the whole cast, looking at the whole last name thing, when Dominic posted the final 9 thing, I looked at y'all pictures and y'all look alike. That is just what the fact is. On the pictures on the boards, next to each other there, y'all look like, so I'm not denying it. It's a fact. They're siblings, and we're gonna point it out tonight. So that's how we came about it.
It was so funny.
Exactly who told me, but somebody said it.
After Dominic posted the final 9 picture, Derek sent it Faves the picture saying go retweet, go support or whatever. And then he was like, bitch, Cam and Luke look just alike.
I don't. I was
They do. They do.
I was like, I don't unsee it. They look alike. You
It's
can't.
the glasses.
Everybody in the face was gagged. I was like, y'all did not know they were siblings.
I did not. I did not. Until Jose told me. Until Jose told me, I did not. I was never thinking about it. And we're already planning to vote Luke out because we're at final for them. So we're like, well, he gotta go. If I get safety, I'm destroying it. Because I don't trust Pranay and Luke with Jose, because Pranay has been kind of protecting Luke a little bit in the game.
Ivan, I have to tell you something because I don't think you're looking at the YouTube chat. Pranay apparently knew about the brothers the entire time. And that we knew Pranay was protecting Luke.
I told you Pranay was protecting Luke. I told you Pranay was protecting Luke. I'm like, if I get the safety, I have to discard it. I cannot
always correct on this.
I worked with Cam because I wanted to be with Luke in the merge with Cameron, and that was my alliance plan, my long scheme plan.
Dang, they had shooters. They had shooters.
And Cameron can validate too.
And got
To be
shot.
fair, Sophie, we kind of knew that's the thing. You guys going last, the neutrals going last was kind of at your disadvantage because everyone could watch your thing. And so I didn't rewatch night 1. I kind of trust my gut and my instincts on dynamics. But me sitting there, I was like, okay, I spoke to Ivan. I said, it's unfortunate none of the villains are here because I would love to talk to them now. But everyone hopped off the Zoom. The game wasn't over. The breakout rooms were still open. I was still ready.
I noticed that.
The wheels fall off, but no one was here except for me and Ivan. So it was just okay, let's just go watch. And when we watched it, you're talking about, I got you, Cam. It's us to the end. I said, oh, fluky, Cam and Luke. I'm sorry, the 3 of you got to go. The villains and we kind of Ivan and I that the villains and us had to work together. But y'all kind of just
at that point I was pleading from the mouth. I'm like, okay, remember our thing? We got Luke in the merge now. Let's go. And I said, oh, it's live. Shit, whatever. But I was also going to say earlier when I was trying to get Rachel out, because I even though I was loyal to Cam, right, I was still worried that he was going to slay the dragon in terms of me being a super villain, and I thought Cam was going to get me out because I was a chaos monster the whole time. I was like, Rachel, I think everyone wants us to get Cameron out here. Everyone would love it. And then she admitted, said, oh yeah, you want to do that? I'm like, Cameron, there you go. Let's get her out. So it was kind of funny.
Hi, Pranay.
You got a lot of explaining to
do with the sibling thing is I had talked to Josiane the first night. I was like, you know what? If me and Josiane make final night, I honestly could work with her. I go, Luke, how did Heroes go? He goes, I don't think they trust me at all. I said, what? What do you mean they don't trust you at all? I'm supposed to go talk to Josiane right now. We already have Derek calling us out for being brothers, and none of the heroes trust you? Oh, we knew.
Wait, was this before tonight or in between?
No, this was I think before tonight before the game hits the 30 minutes or whatever. And I was like, you say what? Josiane, Ivan, don't trust you.
But
green sublines, we're fucked. One of us are going home first, and we knew that, but what can you do?
I think the downfall of the neutral was the fact that they were not willing to talk. Like the heroes and the villains were throwing out names, and the neutrals were not talking. So it was just
They were too
easier.
neutral.
It was just it was easier for them to just go at the beginning before the game got cut short, and they had to send Jose out.
I have a question. I told you I missed the first cycle, but did my name come up? Like, why is Luke mad at me?
I don't remember that.
Luke's mad at you rightfully for all your little slick tweets and comments the entire duration of the game.
I talk shit about everybody.
There a lot.
Yeah,
I talk shit about everybody though.
But it seems. Now maybe I'm wrong, but you have a little more. I think there's tiers to the hatred you have towards people. I think Luke's on a higher tier than other people.
What? No,
Yeah.
I feel like I talk shit about everybody equally.
Bryce, I do think you resent Luke a little bit.
About what? Like, what did I say?
Ooh.
Dang.
I mean, I can't remember word for word.
Only things I remember saying about Luke was I complained about how Luke has played the game 27 times and never brings pen and paper for this auction.
That is ridiculous. That is true though.
I'm sorry, like you don't.
He also said he has cried every time he played the game,
and he does. I mean, they do like every single time.
Well, why do you have to say that? Why do you have to say that again and again? That's.
I think the issue is not necessarily between y'all two, but in general, people say stuff, and it's like people are actually invested in their like time, right? So like maybe Price, when you're in the comments, you have separated from it or whatever. Because I remember I saw a tweet that Madi said, a villain who I hadn't interacted with, didn't know, and she made a comment about the heroes. And I'm like, you don't even understand the dynamics of this game. You weren't even on our team and you're talking. And I'm like, Miss Ma'am, you're out of the game. So you can't really speak on how long it's taken, because at that point, again, the ideal for us was Pranoy, Ivan, and us final three. And so I was making that decision and I needed to really
I don't know. I'm gonna stay 10 toes down with my good villain Maddie, because y'all be talking in circles on the heroes. Like I love you to death, Josie Ann, but you can elaborate to death. I'm keeping it above.
Okay. And that's
You
why
can
I would
elaborate
go
to
games,
death.
because I be talking and I'm illiterate. What did you call me? Monotone.
I
and
called you
illiterate,
monotone
okay?
and monotone
All right.
and articulate.
And
Exactly.
in the street kids, I am monotone and I can be, well, sometimes I'm monotone, not all the time, and I can be illiterate. And here's my thing.
Articulate, not illiterate. Articulate.
Oh, sorry, articulate. But I'm just saying, like, when people are throwing comments, sometimes like it's obvious, like I think people are gonna get a reaction. Like, obviously I don't take it personal. I didn't like block Maddie, but I was annoyed in the moment because I'm like, you don't understand, like $300 USD could do a lot for me. You know what I mean? To some people, it's not that big of a deal. For me, it is, with the reality I live in, whatever. And so I'm just trying to do what's best for my game. And at this point, both of them had showed loyalty. So I really needed to think it out. Bye, Jeremy. Bye, my Whitney brother. Anyways, and so it's like, I can understand why people could get in their feelings about some of the comments being said, because you're still playing the game and your emotions are fully invested in it. But I can also, like, I was in the comments. I don't know if I said anything like crazy or slick. Y'all can check me if I did, but no, I didn't. And I say 10 tones down with what I said. I called facts and the age like fine wine. But yeah, I can understand both sides as well. But I don't know if what you said warrants a block from Luke. That's between y'all, really.
And again, Price.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. I was just wondering if like
You
I
weren't
thought
addressing,
something happened during the cycle that warranted, because I was asleep and I woke up and you asked like if I left the chat, and I looked and I was like, no. Then I went, okay, somebody blocked me, and I was like, it had to be from this season, and I saw I was blocked by Lou. So I was wondering if something happened in the cycle. But if it was like outside of the cycle and it was just me talking shit that got to them, I understand, because I'm gonna talk shit and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I think it's two. I don't think you, like, I guess I don't want to discredit Luke or anything like that, but how malicious I think you're actually, like, your intention towards it. I mean, you just said you talk shit about everybody. So I don't think you're like, fuck them. I think you talk shit about a lot of people, and some people are going to take it a certain way.
Like that's how, like I'm not hurt. I understand, like everybody's not comfortable with it, so it's fine.
But at the same time, Luke is entitled to his feelings, because I know he has had a very difficult week. And even when Demonica brought up Luke was the reason why Max went home, it triggered Luke and he got very emotional about it. So I understand that he's entitled to his feelings. Like little things you say might trigger someone because he has had a very difficult week.
I also
And
did
then
say I
that-
was rooting against Luke, so maybe that was probably one of them. I made a tweet. I literally made a tweet. I said I've decided who I'm rooting for and against, and I picked one person from each team. Luke was the hero I chose. Like it wasn't just him. I also said Fluky and Bryce, but you know.
So real quick, so I did touch on Luke being a crier, and I will touch on it again publicly because I did say something about him being publicly. Luke is definitely entitled to cry. Hell, we are all human. We all cry. I meant that obviously came out as if I don't like want Luke around me because he cries, but that wasn't like people cry like that. That's just human nature. What I meant was in the space of the game tonight, I just wanted to enjoy myself. I've been in a space where Luke in a game with Luke before, and it turned very like dark and like down, and it just took the mood from like 10 to like 0. And that's not a space that I wanted to be in tonight. So respectfully, that's all I was saying. It's just I want to keep the game fun. I want to have a good time. I want to play with people that will just take the game as a game and let it roll. That's all I was saying. So it did come off harsh, and I publicly apologize to Luke for that, and I'll even shoot him a DM about it. But that's generally all I meant in the game.
Yeah, if we want to talk after the fact, we could talk. But yeah, I'm not.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. We finished talking about night 1. We can go back to talking about night 2, but I feel
real
like
quick, Josie, what were you saying?
I was going to say to your point, like for heroes specifically, me and Luke were kind of going at it back and forth, but I felt like I had to like put my game aside to actually check on someone. I think a lot of us, the heroes, and maybe other people from other teams, like even outside of the game, like took time to like speak to Luke on a personal and be like, hey, are you okay? And obviously Luke was dealing with stuff from the previous week. It was hard. But I do think it did take a toll on like the heroes as well. So I can understand where you were coming from. So when you were talking about that, I didn't take it in like an offensive way. And I hope Luke didn't either. Luke's not here, so we can't understand, but I understand where you're coming from because you're saying like you have experienced that, but even at night 1, that's what I felt like I was experiencing. And I see that you're nodding, Ivan. So I'm thinking it's
no, I meant Prinoy had the same experience because Prinoy was like, game aside, I need to go check. No, it was like game aside, I need to go check up on Luke. I need to make sure he's okay. He went off a personal conversation with Luke.
Yeah. For me, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can.
So obviously me, Josian, and Ivan, we had our final 3. Like that started from round 1 when we 3 were the only one who voted together. And Luke, obviously I like Luke personally, and I got to know about Luke and Cam being brothers last week because I was spectating their Survivor UK game, and in the audience chat, I think Cam said that Luke is their sibling.
That's crazy.
So I got to know about this last week, and I knew like Luke is probably not ready for this game. Like they are overwhelmed, and I was hoping that they would either back out or like say that they are not in the right mental health space right now to play this game. And what happened at Final 4 was that me, Josie, and Ivan, we were kind of making the plan that whoever gets safety, we are going to destroy it and vote out Luke. And so I got into the room with Luke, and Luke wanted me to tie the votes against you, Josie, or Ivan. And I was not going to do that. And I told that, the best part for me is to like not having to vote for Luke, because Luke just like stood up for me, when that thing that happened with Demonica, and like, Luke was like trying to like, Luke stood up for me. So like that meant a lot. So I said that Ivan and Josian just like vote out Luke so that I don't have to do it. And when I got to be in a room with Luke was already crying and breaking down. It just like that already just like put me in a bad place.
You started crying too, right? Like, because I remember coming in and you were like crying.
Yeah, and I never cry. Like I never cry in games. Like obviously I cry in my real life. So like that was very overwhelming, because like Luke was literally, they were saying like, I'm begging, just like, don't vote me out. Like I stood up for you. So that's why I couldn't do it. Like I told Josiane that if I have to vote out Luke, I would do it, but I prefer that you two just vote them out. And actually, I blame myself for my own demise because like Luke wouldn't have taken safety. Luke wouldn't have taken safety. Like if I told them that, like it's you, I'm sorry, I have to do it. Like I have to take you out. But if I had like lied to them, then they would have not taken safety. They would have gone destroyed the safety because they thought that I was with them, and like we would have tied the votes. So like that's why I felt me, Josiane, and Ivan, we were the only stable players at the Heroes camp. Like everybody was either like crying, overwhelmed, being like completely absurd.
I was overwhelmed. Going at it.
Honestly, to add to Prenoy's point, I think that actually took a negative toll on your game because we are watching you like not necessarily take care of Luke, but it's like going to check up on him. We are seeing this bond happen between the both of you, and that can be very like scary. With let's say for Jose that has to choose who between me and you last night. She's seeing you like, oh, checking up on Luke, doing this, doing that. That's like, okay, if you guys make the merge together, would you still be doing that? Would you still have Luke that doesn't have Jose? So it's so like I think it took a negative toll on your game as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
To your point, Ivan, what really like made me like pick you for sure is because they're like in my mind, I'm like, I don't know Prenoy's connections. Obviously, you were saying you weren't connected, which I believe that, but it's like the fact that like Ivan was like, I will go to the final 2 with you, and we were just talking like, oh, just night 1, and then we'll see. And then you're saying like, I don't even want to really like put my neck out. I want to like protect myself by like getting safety to just not vote Luke and let you and Ivan do that work. To me, it's like I needed 100% going into night 2, and I felt like that delivered. Not to say that you wouldn't give me your 100%, but that waverness. And I just think that's because you're a caring person. But ultimately, like I was a caring person, but I wasn't. I still voted for Luke every time I could. So you know.
Okay. Yes, you did. And yes, go ahead.
Brian.
Yeah,
No, I was just gonna go. I was gonna go to Dominic before he leaves.
Yo,
but go for it.
I want to know why John and Taisha were villains. That's what I want to know first. Then,
what's up? What's up, Derek?
Okay, so Dominic, in that when it was time for me and Taisha to pick our numbers, so what would you have gone with in that situation?
You put 0, correct?
Yes, I went 0.
That is exactly what you needed to put, was 0. Yep. And Taisha should have put 1, because if Taisha really critically thought about it, she knows you have to put 0. She should know that 1 should automatically get her safety, because if you put anything higher than 1, it guarantees you lose the game. So she knows you have to put 0 since you have the least amount of steps. So she could have put 1 and 1 safety, because you did do what she said, but she still went for 16, which put her right next to you, which was her thought process, which works too. But in that case, you have to destroy immunity and vote out Ivan. But she quickly rushed it, kept safety.
At that point, when that happened, I was like, I just won the game.
the whole chat was
no, I thought you won too. Like it was like Ivan just won. Like, oh my god.
What were you saying, Taisha?
I scribbled out my numbers. I was like, okay, do I either
What were your
get
alternates?
close?
What were your alternates?
2 and 3.
2 and 3 would have done just the same job. It actually would have probably, that would have won you the game instantly. Because if you put 1, I think you just like that keep immunity, win the game, because you would have had the most steps with safety. So all you had to do was just erase that 6 off your board, and you're crowned the winner of strategic aspect. Yep. Crazy how it works.
I think it's very fitting that the randomizer.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I love that season 10 and 20 are the only seasons that came down to it like that. Very interesting.
The worst season and the best season. Crazy.
I know, right? I was just about to say the exact same thing. Guess
this season was a lot.
This season was a lot. Worst season.
Chris, you're asking why John and Taisha were villains?
I want to know why John and Taisha were villains. Like,
so my villain,
never given villain. I'm sorry.
My villain spots, I went with, there were locks. So Maddie was a lock, Derek was a lock, Price was a lock, Sophia was a lock. That's 4. The other remaining were Who am I missing? Taisha, John,
Bryce.
and
No, he
Bryce.
said me. He said me.
No, Bryce.
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 Taisha, John, and Bryce. Taisha was a lock because I went off of her move voting out Fluky on his birthday.
Which I understand.
So I know how Taisha can play. I know Taisha tends to be a loyal player, but to make the argument that she should have been not a villain and she still betrayed Bryce in the end like that, I think it just is a testament to why she was a villain, in my opinion. Then John, John strategically hasn't made it too far in SA. John was a replacement for a couple people that were filling in. I think Johnny was originally set to play. I wanted her real bad. But
Johnny, I would have loved to see her.
So I just was going through the steps of fame and I was like, I saw John and I said, you know what? This motherfucker has betrayed everyone in every game he's ever played. I didn't really take into consideration SA for facts. But he did. I mean, I could bullshit my way into like saying, yeah, he did play Snaky in season 5. But other than that, yeah, he could have made a case for neutral, but neutral team was filled up. And then Bryce being a villain it came down to my last 3 spots. I had 2 spots on neutral, 1 on villain, and it came down to Bryce, Jack, and Fluky.
It should have been Fluky.
well,
I
that
think
was
Bryce is very fitting.
I kind of Fluky was the first one I put onto out of those 3. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put Fluky on neutrals because I was going with the whole players that are struggling with the battle in their brain between what their brain should do or what their heart should do. And I was like, Fluky out of these 3 is the most likely person to be like, I'll throw my game away for this person out of loyalty. True. Fluky can also be a snake. I put Fluky in that middle ground. He could be a hero, he could be a villain, neutral. Then out of Bryce and Jack, I honestly went with, I think they're both cerebral players that think for themselves, both have a case. But I balanced it. I thought Bryce would have a better time on villains and Jack would have a better time on neutrals to be more fair for them. I think Jack had no connections on villains, and I think Bryce would have been targeted by Fluky and probably Jeremy on neutrals.
That's very true. That's very true.
That's how I balanced it.
You gave Jack a chance, you gave Bryce a chance, and you sent me home.
Well, immediately off the bat, I was getting told I like screwed a couple players over on villains, but Sophia, Bryce, and Maddie won the first vote. I mean, they were in majority for that.
Yeah, Sophia, Bryce, and Maddie could have had it all.
They lost the game when Derek won the next round tiebreaker. The moment Derek got that tiebreaker is when they lost their majority because Derek had John and Taisha.
Mm-hmm.
And Bryce, and they lost it at that point because Derek would break the tie in his favor anytime. And so when they gave safety to Maddie, that was basically like, Maddie, keep this or it's you. Like, we have the majority. And so Maddie
so fucking funny. John had me weak.
Maddie rightfully kept it, and Derek went on to go win. So
I am happy. If it wasn't me, I'm glad it was my brother. I wanted to send his ass home, but you know.
Yeah, and I did it with 0 minutes of pre-gaming.
Brother, I knew he was gonna. I couldn't wait for him to brag about that.
Oh yeah,
I don't think there was strong pre-game like that.
I don't agree.
Well, no, I'm talking about like joining the calls and like all of that. That's what I mean. Like to join that whole pre-game phone call or Zoom call that was out there that y'all were able to join.
Are you better than everyone because you didn't? Is that what you're implying?
I'm better than everyone because I
Bryce will kiss Derek ass no matter what, so he didn't have to pregame.
It came close. This game could have gone anyway. There were so many randomizers in the end.
I did it without talking to anyone pregame. So,
bro. I didn't pregame at all.
I was gonna say, when I was making that comment, I was making it towards Ivan because I think the pregame, like not the pregame, like the pregame Zoom or whatever, made me feel comfortable about Pranoy. And that's why I never doubted Pranoy, at least for heroes. I think the fact that you and Pranoy were the only heroes who did pregame aside from Bunny, and that was the final 3, or the final 5, technically, we want to look out. Well, I want to look out from the jump, but the fact that that's how it fell, I think had to do a lot with the Zoom because we got comfortable with each other and that we felt like, okay, at least we don't have that strong connection, but we have at least that.
And see, I thought that would have worked for the villains too. Like, I really thought like the talk I had with Sophia, like I really thought like we are both big threats. Like these people are not gonna trust us no matter what. We have to stick together. I thought that was gonna work. And I'll pull up on game day and Derek, like, yeah, these bitches want you out. I was like, damn. It's also, we talked about the night before, all of us taking sixes. I get up there, everybody taking motherfucking threes. I'm like, damn, all the shit we talked about ain't mean nothing. Like, what the fuck? Like,
to be fair, Price, I don't think that that's comparable, like our situation, just because the villains know each other. Y'all have history. Like you and Sophia have history. You and Derek have history. You and Bryce have history. So like the need for pregame, I don't think is the same. Whereas like Heroes, we didn't really have strong connections. Like, yeah, I knew Pranoy, but like it wasn't like, I don't think I really played the game seriously with Pranoy and like had relationships. I didn't know Ivan. I played with Meg and I didn't even remember. No shade to her. I just was on. I was on one on season 14. Y'all can go and look at it. So I don't even remember how many people I played with. And then who else was on Heroes? Luke betrayed me. Luke wasn't on the pregame. So like that was not going to do anything. Bunny also betrayed me in that same season 10, the one I will not talk about. But Bunny was on the pregame Zoom and that made me feel comfortable because that helped. And then we got on immediately at 7. Brenny was like, I have your back 100%. So I think it did have an impact for us because of the lack of history versus Heroes. Everyone's connected. Everyone has too much history. I don't know about neutrals, but at least that's why.
I think, like for it, what the pre-game Zoom did is like, we did not obviously talk game, but it is like, okay, there's an unspoken bond. Like, okay, we showed up. So like, and I wanted that Zoom to end so badly because I didn't want to be the first one to leave. I was like, can somebody please end this Zoom? Like, I just don't want like.
I know. That's why I was in there. I was in every call playing Fortnite.
No, finish.
Yes, no, finish. I was like, yeah, when Dominic said that, okay, guys, I think nobody's going to leave, so let me just end it. I was like, yes, please.
No way, I kid you not. I think like 6 people messaged me saying thank you, Dominic.
In the same boat. I wanted to leave so bad. I was like, I am not leaving anyone by themselves.
I didn't have to go. You didn't even have to go.
I think for me, based on the pre-game, I felt like me and Jose were like the same person. Because I felt like this is someone that would be loyal to me 100% and would never waver. And I'm like, this is the person I'm going to be loyal to and I would never waver. That loyalty was established round 1. And I think we also got in a call with Taisha that's going to be the 3 of us. I think that was something we started from there. And then the next day, the first thing we said to each other is like, we are each other's final 2. We understand each other. So it was just like, we're like almost the same person in this game. Like loyalty is important to us. And that just what bonded us together the most.
So did we know our teams at the time of that pregame or no?
Not when it started.
In the beginning, no. So we started off and it was very much like
during it.
Yeah, so we got on and it was very much like, hi, how are you, blah, 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 blah. So I actually talked to a lot more people who weren't on my team. And then once the teams happened, what happened, Derek, is that we went from all mingling to each other to randomly just being heroes, villains, and neutrals. Like we all just went into those Zoom calls, which I thought was a little weird, but I understand. So when we were talking, it's like, I think everyone kind of toyed with the idea of like, well, all 4 of us are here. These people are not here, so and like I mean I feel like it kind of happened with us anyways.
I think that's
intentional, but it did actually happen.
No, I think that's the difference between the heroes and the villains. I saw the villains team. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a very cutthroat team. They are not going to have much loyalty to each other. These people are playing for themselves because I know how Bryce plays. I mean, I've heard of Price playing. So I'm like, these people have no loyalty to each other. Like, But on the hero side, I've played with Prenoy before. I know Prenoy plays a loyal game as well, even if we always go at it, because I know Prenoy goes far in game. I think I told you, Joseph, I'm like, Prenoy goes far in games. And I'm like, if Prenoy is 1 out of 3 sports that is going to go far,
And
that's something I'm scared about. So I'm like, Prenoy always goes far in game. So that kind of worries me in my own team as well. So I'm like, but I know he plays a loyal game. So I think the heroes are more like the loyal people. And then they took the cutthroat people, the Derricks, the Price, the Bryce, to the villains. I think that's why the pre-game did not really work well for the for the villains, because you guys are like wolves trying to eat each other.
No, I understand that. Like with the villains,
What are
like
you talking about?
no
Price
matter
is
what we
huge.
say pre-game, like the game is always gonna be different. Like I honestly like that's why when I pulled up and like the first thing I heard was like my name was already out there. I expected that. So I had already had my plan ready of what I was gonna do, what my attack was gonna be. So like I understand, like I feel like that's the thing with like heroes and villains. Like you know what you gonna get. With the villains, you know you can't trust these hoes. With the villains, 9 times out of 10, it's like if you build the trust, it's gonna be there. So I feel like that was like the opposite ends of the spectrum.
I think pregame solidified my wanting to work with Cam actually. Like Cam also was neutral. And I don't know. Maybe the vibes were just really good. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, okay, I'm going
She's so
Cam.
bad.
Like,
I literally was like, I hope she makes it. I hope to God she makes it.
I was like, okay, I really like Cam. And then randomly during the game, I don't know at what point, but Cam comes into the room and I'm there by myself and we're like, oh, hey, like we're still here. Okay, see you night 2, hopefully. And then we just did. So that's why I think also my move when I left wasn't so out of left field for Cam. I think a lot of people at the chat didn't understand that. Hopefully they now understand that I was valid despite the lashings I
You were
got.
valid.
I don't think people were giving you lashings for coming out for Cam.
They were giving me lashings, Bryce.
No, the reasons you were getting lashings was because like after you came out for Cam, like I feel like the argument started to shift towards like Emerson,
again.
like, trying to get Emerson's vote, but you kept talking about you, and everybody was like, "No, we need to know what Emerson want to do because that's all that matter right now." Because like you had already
I felt like if I was like Emerson, will your vote directly, like I feel like I was gonna put more of a target on my back. You have to remember my mindset is Cam is going home. And I was trying to like help Cam out without like being too direct by it because I was it was a balancing act for me because I wasn't trying to alienate Derek and Ty as well because me and Ivan hadn't really talked like 100% about what was going on. But I knew that the 4 of us, Derek, Ty, Ivan, and myself had at least good vibes, good rapport. And so I was trying to do it in a balancing act. But like, I feel like the comments I saw, I didn't read everything because I'm also trying to play the game, but the comments I saw were like, why she should just shut up and she should just shut up and not even try to do the thing for Cam because Cam's going home. But the vote was for
so
me.
this is how I think like watching it, I was in the chat. Y'all know I was typing down. So everybody was screaming at Cam, say a name, say a name, say a name. And Cam and I was like, just say villains at least. That's what I was saying. And then Cam finally said, say the villain. Say Cam finally
they
said,
were highly influenced by that chat. I'm telling
and
you.
what about it? What about it? And then so finally,
not
Josie,
influenced by
you
that chat.
said
That
a
chat did not
name and
influence me.
everybody was cheering. Everybody was cheering
That chat
because
did not
you
influence
finally
me.
said a name. And so once you said that name,
Win, man. Take your win and get on.
The ball started to get rolling, and we were like good with that. And then Emerson was just not talking. And so so we started to be like, okay, Emerson, speak up, say something. And so when Emerson finally started to talk, I feel like you came back in like and was talking over her or something like that. And then everybody was like, no, we need to see what Emerson gonna do because like we need to know where Emerson's head is at. I feel like that's where people were talking about like you talked yourself out of it. We didn't know prior because we weren't in the breakout rooms that the plan coming in was you. We thought like the plan coming in was Cam, just like you said.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be hush. It was supposed to be quiet. Yeah.
And we thought you talking over Emerson, not giving Emerson like not fighting, giving Cam a chance to fight for Emerson's vote was the reason it got turned on you. That's what our thought process.
When I was like in the thing, I felt like I if anything, I felt like Cam needed to speak more So that's why I was talking again, because I thought it was Cam. So I was like, Cam needs to talk more, Cam needs to talk more. And then I think Emerson spoke up, but it was giving very much, I don't know, I'm not sure. And I'm like, okay, well, like, let's keep, to me, it's like, you almost want to talk them down so much that they either like understand or are overwhelmed and can just hear what you're saying. And I just felt like at that point in time, again, hindsight is 2020. I just felt at that time like, and I think it was obvious Emerson wasn't saying much because I think I knew straight on that her vote wasn't going to change. So when Ivan did that, like, even if it was an accident, when Ivan did that, I said, wait a damn minute. Like, this is when we can really reposition. And so, yeah, Ivan.
I don't think that benefited you because coming into
I thought it did. Like the chat, we thought it did because what it looked like was you were telling Emerson, if you vote out, you finna get hella steps.
That was from my own mindset. I know I have Jose in the game. The villains have each other. So in the breakout room, the only name that was said was Cam, and I was safe. So I was like leaving breakout room for people to talk.
Guys, you guys are talking about the final 7 vote when Josiane left.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure by what I've heard, it was Josiane the entire time that was
Yes,
going to be voting.
that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the double up play had any influence on if Emerson was going to vote.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys were saying?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
I think it did because Emerson was going to lose her mind.
No, it did not. It did not. I think because they were telling us Cam. And I told you, I don't know if you remember, like, if you're only hearing Cam, then your name is also out there. I remember telling you, I'm like, go strategize, because if you're only hearing Cam, your name is out there. Then I was in the room with Roy. I'm like, I think I have to double up Jose and Bryce so that Bryce doesn't vote out Jose. But when I got to the call, everyone started saying Cam. I'm like, okay, I'm confused. Why is it Cam? Because my brain was telling me it was you because I was safe and they knew we were tight. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to get Jose out of the game because I don't have a vote. So I'm like, my brain is telling me put Bryce and Jose together, because if you double up Bryce and Jose, Bryce is a very selfish player. Bryce is not going to vote Jose out. But then the whole Cam situation just became very confusing. Like, okay, let me do Cam and
Emerson.
Emerson. That way